Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me right at 7:30, a little bit past 7:30 on the East Coast. Yes, I wasn't sure what I want to talk about again today. I've been having some of the news has been not so good and different and weird. I'm like, you know what? Let me try something that I think is interesting. The show, I don't want the show to only be politics. It's a lot of politics, but I also want it to be cultural issues and things that are relevant in general and people to chat with and ideas that are affecting all of us. And I thought about people have been recently chatting about, um, and literally just one of Trump's finance guy, whatever, whoever the guy is, Secretary of Treasury, whatever, is talking about the idea that there's now an increased chance of a recession coming up here. Now, I think most of us who've been paying attention, it's kind of already a recession. But what he means is a depression or a crash. That's their concern. And there's a lot of people talking about that now. It's going to happen this year. I mean, they talk about it often. I know they talk about it often. But I think if you've been paying attention, the government has been very savvy, and it often is. And they've been savvy, and that is they've changed definitions of what a recession is so they can say it's not a recession. Well, wait a minute. I thought recession was X. Yeah. But we don't say it's yes anymore. It's that thing anymore. So it's no longer a recession. Oh, so what used to happen that we called a recession, that has happened. Yes. But it's not a recession now. No. Why not? Because we've changed the definition of that. Oh, okay. That's basically what's happened. And that's fine. So now we're worried. We're worried about the policies. We're worried about what's happening in the country. We're worried about all those types of things. Cheyenne says, yeah, get me in trouble. That is accurate. I'm not going to say it because I'll get trashed. But yes, Cheyenne, you are correct. They did change that definition too, didn't they? That's also correct. So yes, all of those things. So I was thinking, how are we going to get jobs? How are they going to work? What's going to happen? And I thought about, Gen Z and such. And I have a Gen Z daughter. My oldest daughter is 20. And she was watching this one guy about in this one video. I thought this video says a lot. And it says a lot about both sides. As you know, I am a hiring and firing guy too. I haven't done that in a while, not for a bit, but I used to spend a lot of time hiring and restructuring and hiring and firing, restructuring things. And also I had a specialty. Some of you know this. I had a specialty, which I haven't done in years, which was hiring very high level executives. I was the guy who I'd be like the third or fourth interview, and I would hammer them in an interview horribly to get out who they were, what they are. And people would pay me an insane amount of money to do that. Like you would think but again, this is a major executive in a large company. If they're a wrong hire, it's crushing. So they would hire me for that kind of thing. So I've been on both sides of this fence and I've looked for jobs too. So I get it. So I want to talk about what this person's talking about and what people are thinking and how in many cases they are actually very wrong. And that's the other issue I want to bring up. They're actually very wrong. Let me bring this up here so we can chat about this real fast. It's not that long of a video, but we'll see.
If anyone's looking for an update on the current state of the job market, do I have a social interaction to share with all of you?
The record for most days worked in a row is 34 days. Anybody that beats that gets $250.
Marketing 15 to 50 an hour. How do we end up with a pay range like this?
Okay, so today we're going to be checking out some job listings, postings, and demands made by.
This guy's name is Zac Rios, and the link to this is in the description on YouTube, Rumble, and also on Facebook. So if you want to go check that out yourself or check him out, he's actually pretty savvy in general, does some interesting content. So my daughter showed me this guy. I didn't know who he was. My daughter does. And I thought it was kind of cool. So I did check that out. Yes. Mike comes right in, coming in hot, Mike. Mike Voss is in the house. He says, recent polls of small businesses say youth are unprepared to work. They bring parents to interviews. 50-30% get fired in the first year. All accurate. Yes. And about 40-50% of all businesses, period, find a reason to not hire Gen Z. And one of the things they do generally, which this guy does not get, a lot of these don't understand. They say literally, you have to have at least 5 years of experience, but don't require more than 10. He's going to talk about that now. That's a typical thing. What that means is I'm not hiring Gen Z because no Gen Z has 5 years of experience. Well, most don't have five years of experience. So how they get around, right? Legally, they can't go, oh, you're Gen Z, I can't hire you. That would be against the law, right? They'd sue them or whatever. So don't do that. What they say is, oh, see, You have to have between 5 and 10 years of experience. That's it. And oh, well, I can't do that. So that's how they get rid of them. So yes, it's a common thing. And they literally now have, in certain places, they actually write, I'm not joking, guys, do not bring your parents to interviews. There's actually YouTube videos that tell them to not bring their parents to interviews. I know if you're like, I don't know, over 40 or 50, you might have fallen out of a chair right now because you didn't know that. Yes, that's a thing. They bring their parents. That's a problem. Lars coming in. How are you, Lars? AI is about to displace tens of millions of workers. We must work on not being irrelevant. Correct. Also, I'll cover that too. Stealing some of my thunder, brother. But yes, absolutely correct. I'm talking about the AI piece also. And also, not just AI. Yes, AI, but also literal robots. Yes, literal robots that may actually not have AI. They may be part of a larger system, right? Where the individual robot doesn't have AI, but the system itself is, right? The robot's a piece of it, similar to the Borg or similar to like Ultron from the Marvel universe. So any of those types. Yes, also true. So, and what we're doing right now, what most of Gen Z is doing right now is complaining. Lars, in case you didn't know, that's not working on not being irrelevant. That's ensuring that you are relevant. So the complaining part, it's not going to work.
Employers in today's market, terrible pay for what you have to do for these companies, no time off, and awful stories that you have to go to just to get a job in the first place. It's really not.
This guy is all on the worker's side only. Now, don't get me wrong. I am also on the worker's side, but I am also on the employer's side. This has to be a two-way street. And the problem is we are creating a world where we have to fight each other. That is not a good thing. You are begging employers if you fight them. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't stand up. I'm not saying you shouldn't unionize. I'm not saying you shouldn't negotiate. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is if you look at your employer as the enemy, you are begging your employer to replace you.
Not looking good out there. And we also have some comments from you guys from previous videos about your experiences in the market. So if you want to be featured in a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But let's just jump right into it. This whole video is going to be pretty rough.
Marketing 15 to 50 an hour. How do we end up with a pay range like this? That's literally.
Now, if you see 15 to 50 an hour, what does that mean? That means you have to do something. And if you achieve something, you get something, right? The idea of your labor itself isn't valuable. Now, this is a very controversial piece because particularly if you are someone who believes more in the idea of socialism or communism type, that's been built upon the idea of trading labor for dollars. That hasn't been valuable in about 20 years. I'm not even joking. What employers used to work that when we were a manufacturing base and you basically were part of a cog in a machine, hourly work created value. Hourly work creates almost no value for people now. It is the outcome that creates value. But for most people, we don't have outcome-based employment, right? But the only thing that does is things like sales and such. And that can become very challenging for people.
A range between 30 and 100 grand per year. So like how does this happen? People with a criminal record are encouraged to apply. Okay. The harder you work, the more money you will make. Okay. That's always a red flag. We routinely have marketers bringing in over 30 to 40 an hour with no limit on earning potential. Yeah. See, that's just, okay. So this is like all commission then.
How many?
Yeah. And the problem is people look at this as a bet. So does he, by the way, right? He also, and here's the worst part. This guy's making money online as an entrepreneur and he looks at this as a bad thing. Why is that a bad thing? Right? Why is it a bad thing? Rice Sticker says, I tried to work for Christmas tree trim farm over summers. You had to be 13 to work there. I worked selling Christmas trees too, but not over the summer. I worked selling Christmas trees during Christmas time. Oh my God, did I make a killing. I was probably 16, something like that. 16 years old, maybe 17 years old in that area, 15, something like that. I was a teenager, it was high school. I would make hundreds of dollars in the 80s as a teen. That's a lot of money because I was out there hawking trees, right? So I would hawk trees all day. So yeah, absolutely. I get that completely. And look, people have been saying before, you also have people saying, oh, you don't want kids working. I don't want children working. I think 11, riot. You're crazy. 11 is too young. But if you're like 15, 16, like I was, 17, so what? Work. Who cares? Who cares? But he's upset about the idea of it being commission-based.
Times have you seen that on job postings? 15 to 50 an hour. Of course, with the description of it depends on how hard you work. You know you're going to get paid basically the minimum for it. Here we go look at some of the comments. 15 to 50 is just saying we might pay you.
Yeah, but here's the problem. See, again, the idea is I show up, I should get paid. That's not how the employer thinks. Do you get my point, guys? It's not how the employer thinks. The employer thinks you have to achieve something. Here's the problem that many of you don't know. A whole lot of people today, particularly Gen Zs, this is a thing. Do your homework. If you think I'm making this up, this is a thing. Gen Z get a job, then purposefully don't show up the first day. That's literally a thing. And they do it, I'm not joking, to show their autonomy, that they're not controlled. Yes. That's really a thing. Again, I'm making some of you fall to your chairs right now. I know that. I'm aware of that. And that's a real thing. They like, and then they go on social media and tell people what they did to show how cool they are. Then they get mad when they get fired. Then they get mad when they get fired. What? Yes. That's actually a thing. Here are the comments now. 1550 says, it's just saying we might pay you. Well, maybe you might do some work. Here's the problem. If I hire you, you show up day one and do nothing, I still got to pay you. What people don't understand is the employer does have some risk. And here's the worst part. If it's a big company, they're right. Big companies are able to absorb this. What happens when you're a smaller company? What happens when you're a smaller company? You have maybe 2 or 3 employees. You hire somebody, that person is a complete waste. You train them, you spend all the time and energy, and they leave in 2 months. You got to read your whole thing. You've lost time. Remember, when you're training them, you're not working your business. You're just losing money. And here's the response all the time. Well, then he shouldn't hire somebody. Good, so no jobs. So you know what your answer is? Stay home. And here's the second piece. Tommy, the guy who's doing this, don't take the job then. No one's forcing you. And in fact, here's the funny part. Here's the funny part. By not taking the job, you're actually helping them. What I mean by that, half of these jobs that are posted out here, they aren't real jobs. What I mean by that, they don't want you to take it. Larry, I mean, that's dumb. Why in the world would particularly large companies make a bunch of jobs that they don't want you to take? Because then they can tell the government, see, there's no labor force out here. Nobody wants these jobs. Nobody's qualified. What does that mean? Give us more migrants. I'm not joking. That's not conspiracy. If you think it is, you're just fooling yourself. That's one of the reasons they say, see, we need more migrants. Why? Because no one can take these jobs. See, no one can take this job. You see anywhere, there's labor pressure everywhere. That's true. They'll do this. I need more H-1B visas or whatever I need. I need more of this visa, that visa. Of course they do. Yes. And about 40% of companies, period, do not want to hire Gen Z at all. So, Lars, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Click like and share and leave a comment for the Al Gore rhythm. He is correct. You should do what he says. If you like what I'm saying, I know you do because you're listening. Since you're listening, you like it. So stop playing yourself. Instead, click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Click that button now. In fact, if you can, and I know you can because you got fingers. I know you do because why you're clicking. Or use your nose if you don't have fingers. I don't care if you got fingers. Whatever. You can use those funny things if you want. I can't see. Use whatever appendage you want to use and share this into something else like Facebook, like, I don't know, I'll share it on Rumble. Can you share it on Rumble? Share it on YouTube, wherever. Share it on X. Do that if you can. And of course, if you want to, please subscribe and follow. That's free. Of course, that's free. Super chat me like Lars if you want to. And you can also become a member if you like. Also, good idea. Become a member if you want to. That's also a great thing. All right. So, yes, that is what's happening. You're seeing those issues. Let me keep going.
They start you at 15 now, and you might get 50 an hour in like 2040. Commission is a red flag. I mean, we just have another screenshot, just a staple where some person wants a nanny to take care.
Why is commission a red flag? Commission is a type of job. If you don't like commission jobs, don't take them. right? I'm the idea that they're angry. This is my I'm not. If you don't like a commission job, don't take one. It's not for everyone. I get that. But the problem is this guy who basically works on commission, right? He's a YouTuber. So he's basically working on commission himself. Well, why are you angry that they're on commission? Just go, oh, not my kind of job. Uptown, 212 HVAC says it exactly the same. It's a mutual contract. If you don't like the pay or the type of pay, don't take the job. Correct. Again, I get if you don't want that kind of job, but why are you angry? You want to be angry at somebody? Be angry at the government. Yes, I got some more stats for you after this to show how bad the government's screwing you over. Oh, wait a minute. Larry Sharpe talking about how the government's bad? Yeah, kind of my thing.
Of their children and are paying next to nothing. And I guess they expect for people to just start lining up to take care of their children. I'm once again looking for a babysitter at the moment.
Hold on. He said, you expect people to be lining up. And she starts us with, I am once again looking. What does that mean? People were lining up. The evidence is there, my friend. You're supposed to be a smart guy. You act like you're a smart guy. You're a little smug. Well, people are lining up. Literally, they are.
Immediately red flag because the last one ended up probably quitting. Would be able to take care of my daughter and I'd be able to pay you $125 every 2 weeks as I only get paid $12 an hour. So because you don't have a high paying job, I guess that means somebody who's going to be taking care of your child should be getting paid even less. But again,
that is literally business 101. What he just said. So if this woman wants someone, that's all she can pay. Who is forcing you to take $62 a week? And I might go, Larry, that's dumb. Who would do that? Let me tell you why. Because for many people who remember, about 60 to 70 million Americans get a monthly check from the government every month, about 60 to 70 million. Some of those are on some form of SSI or disability. Those people cannot get a certain amount of money. They just can't. Otherwise, they lose all the benefits. It's called a benefit cliff. This is how dumb our system is, right? You make $1 over X, you lose everything. Well, if you're at home on SSI, disability, whatever the case may be, and you're not able to, and you want to work and do something, and you want to get out and do something, you would take a job like this. You absolutely would. Of course you would. You get paid $250 a month under your requirement. You have some other side gigs that make some cash. So you get to make some money, not lose your benefits. You don't require benefit from her because you're getting from the government. So you keep your benefits and stay busy. Hang out with some kids, get out there. What if you are someone who is disabled? You can't do much work, where if traveling a lot is a problem for you. So you would drive to her house, watch her kid, and drive home. Or maybe you have a roommate who helps you out, and your roommate drops you off and picks you up. You're going to sit around watching the kid on TikTok anyways. You can watch TikTok in your house, or you can watch TikTok in her house and eat her food and watch your kid and get paid you $250, which you're using for other things now. So this stuff can actually work. So he doesn't get it. And neither does his audience. Like, they don't understand what the real world is like today. There are people who would do this for that specific reason. That literally exists. Yes. Mike said, Mike said, I'm on SSD. Is it SSDI? I thought it was SSI. Sorry, thank you. I'm on SSDI and my work income is capped. Correct. Yes. Ooh, Kim. You know, Kim, very savvy. Very savvy. Family values are gone. Yes. Now, let me ask that question. And Kim is hitting something that I know. And I think some of you are thinking it too. You're a single mom who only gets paid $12 an hour. And you have no one to take care of your kid. Where's the baby daddy? Where's your sister, your brother, your mom, your cousin, your uncle, your grandpa, your grandma? Where are all those people? Shouldn't one of them be helping you out? What you will hear both Democrats and Republicans tell you is not true. It's the stories they made up. Democrats will tell you, you don't need no man. Single mom's as good as a dad or whatever. That's Democratic stuff they made up. Republicans say the only way to raise a family, traditional, mom and dad. Also not true. That's Republican propaganda. The actual best way to raise any kids is with a community of family, a clan. And that's demonstrably true, has been true forever. You can see that in every culture. The best way to raise a family is with mom, dad, cousin, uncle, grandma, auntie, cousins. That's the best way. And clearly, the reverse has happened with her. Now, is it her fault? I don't know, right? This is some woman. Who knows? I have no idea, right? Was it bad luck? Was it bad decisions? Some combination? Who knows? Right? Maybe she was the only child. Her parents are gone and her husband was killed. Who knows? I don't know that. And then maybe she just made terrible decisions and has alienated everybody in her life. Either could be true. But your point, Kim, right on point. I appreciate that. Ryan, thank you for the $5. Larry, I was angry with the government, and that's why I quit my job working at the for the VA as housekeeper. Total toxicity. Yes. I don't work with the VA either. For those of you know what I do, I'm talking about getting hired, right? And hiring people. I was a hiring manager. I've done it more than once. I get hired to hire people. So I said, I'll go to the VA and I'll work for them for free. I didn't even ask for a government contract, right? When I do veteran training, it's always free. I did it for, oh my God, college here in New York. And of course, now I'm forgetting it. Shame on me, but I did it for a college here in New York. I've done it for the Yellow Ribbon Foundation. I've done it for other places. I went to the VA and I said, I'll do it. I will train your guys for free. And they gave me some terrible rubric that I had to fill out. I looked at the rubric and I said, okay, all of this is garbage, useless. You're harming them. And the VA said, no. You have to teach them this. I said, this is useless. You are literally hurting them. No, but that's the rules. Okay, no. Okay. Literally, I'm a professional. I have a company and I teach this stuff to people. They pay me thousands of dollars to teach this. I teach it at colleges. I want to give it to you for free. And they went, no, you must follow the rubric. It was things like, and this is going to drive you crazy. This is like 2008, 9 in that area, something like that. Most of these vets coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm trying to teach you that point. Maybe it's even as late as 10, 11. And they were like, no, we have to teach it. And some of the rubric was, I'm not joking, the type of paper your resume should be on. 2011, who the hell was using paper resumes? Who's it now? Like that was the thing I had to teach. So anyway, I get what you're saying completely. Totally bad. An embarrassment, actually. So yes. All right. Let me keep going down here.
Gets better. I get paid every 2 weeks, my hours from 8 to 4, but I'd need a ride to work and then a ride back, of course. Gas money would be provided. So you need to take care of their kid and drive them to and from work. Let me know if that works for you. I love when people post this kind of stuff on Facebook as if there's going to be any takers for these jobs.
She said, again looking, which means there were takers. What are you talking about? The reality of it is, this is what's probably true. I don't know this woman. But here's what's probably true. She's probably toxic as hell. That's why she doesn't have a man around her or family around her, because she's pushed off her man and she's pushed off her family. That's probably true. I don't know that, but probably true. So there is a group of people who would take that job as I expressed. So some people will come. She's probably toxic as hell and she pushes them away, right? If people are constantly getting fired, it might be you. So it's probably her. She's probably a toxic person. That's probably true.
And at least there we could see a comment section. Most of the time they just get made fun of so heavily, it's pretty funny. But we have another one, just a full job description of a whole bunch of different qualifications, how long you're working, but not looking for candidates with 10 plus years of experience.
Bingo.
Just 5 years, because 10 years in a specific line of work means you're probably going to demand some pretty good pay. And that's not what employers want in today's world. They don't want somebody brand new, fresh out of college. That's why it's so difficult for everybody with a brand new degree to get a job, because those kids don't have enough experience. But if you have too much, then, we'll actually have to pay you some decent money. So,
okay, two parts to this, which he doesn't get. And most people don't get. Most people don't get. All they're trying to do is avoid Gen Z. That's what this is. He doesn't understand that. What the employer, if you're savvy, and again, I'm the guy who writes job descriptions, right? So if you're savvy in writing your description, you don't want, if you really want to hire someone, and there's two separate issues here. I want to be clear on two parts. Some of these people really want resumes. I'll explain why in a second. The vast majority do not want resumes. They want as few resumes as possible. That's why they use AI to go through them. It's a lot of time and energy to go through resumes. So you want to make it to where most people don't apply. But you can't say, no Gen Zers, you guys suck. That's what they believe. Now, So what do? You can't have less than 5 years experience. Guess what a Gen Z is? Now, he says, well, you got to pay him if they have more than 10. But I don't need more than 10. And he doesn't get it. Too many people do this. And I hear this all the time. This is the craziest thing. Larry, they got to pay me more. Why? I got 2 master's degrees. They don't give a shit. I don't care. But I paid for it. Okay, so you were dumb. That's your fault. I don't know why you paid for 2 master's degrees. Nobody cares. But I'm educated. Nobody cares. You don't get a checkbox because all my people have master's degrees. If I don't get what I need from an employee, I don't care. To be forward, this is back, and this is probably 10, 15 years ago. And if Lars is still listening, he'll probably hear me on this one. There was a time when if you were looking, still true now, but if you were looking back then, 10, 15 years ago, it was already starting, high tech, like really cutting edge tech companies, if you wanted to be in that world, if you had a master's degree, it was a no hire. Let me say it again. It was a no hire. They would go through and go, master's, nope. Master's, nope. What was their mindset? Their mindset was, you don't do anything. You just go to school. You don't do anything. So they literally, if you wanted to, now, that was not true in big business and government. And to this day, still kind of not true for big business and government. But most even average companies, they see double master's degrees. No, that's why they don't want it, because you just want lots of money because you spent lots of money, not because you can provide value for the business owner. Now, no, if you're working now and you're looking for work and going, but Larry, I have all this education. I know it sucks when I tell you threw your money away. I know it does, but you threw your money away. Yes, absolutely. Laura says it right there. I favored veterans over master's degrees when I hired people. Correct. Most people do. Why? Because veterans go get a job done. Master's degrees ask questions and study stuff. Yes, I'm not making this up. Why do you think there are so many people who are underemployed? Well, I think right now, when all the layoffs are happening, the vast majority are women. The layoffs now, the majority are women. Why? Because women are bad? No, because women are overqualified. They have more degrees than men do. That's just statistically true. They have far more degrees than men do, right? So you have far more degrees than men have, which means you demand more money, but don't produce any more value. The same as the guy, right? Your value to the company is the same as the guy, but you have 2 or 3 degrees and you want more money. Well, I got to save from the guy. He's cheaper. You're gone. And you might go, Larry, that's cruel. That's reality. And I'm trying to let you, if you're in your world looking for work or you know someone who is, that's the reality. So they don't want that. Let me go to the opposite side. Why would they want resumes? A lot of these jobs, as I mentioned, aren't actual jobs. They're done either to pump up the numbers so they can get more migrants, but something else. If you see actually AI is doing it. AI is actually putting out a bunch of stuff out, right? Saying, hey, come on in, we got a job for you, whatever, and they're never going to hire you. Why? They're literally collecting data to sell it. Again, some of you, I know you're falling off your chair. Yes, they're literally collecting data to sell it. So they have massive bots that go out and collect all your resumes, scan all the data, put all the data in a database, and sell that data. So you're giving them data for free, which is why you will hear me always say the same thing. Never use the shotgun method or machine gun method for getting a job ever. It's always fewer resumes to specific jobs with cover letters, or don't waste your time. That's it. Fewer jobs for specific places. Absolutely. Yes. Cheyenne says, thank you for being a member, Cheyenne. My sister-in-law is getting her master's. She's basically a counsel of a nonprofit. Yeah, she'll be struggling with debt most of her life. I don't mean to be mean. I hope that she loves her job. If you love your job, you go. Please do it. Pay the price. You love your job. Happiness isn't only about money. But if she's doing it because she thinks it's a good deal, unless she works for government or a very large legacy organization, those organizations often have rules within their HR that say they will spend more money if it's higher, if you have more education. Only in those. Shango's goes on to say, "Oh, I know. Yeah, absolutely. It is. Yeah, absolutely." Ganjan88, thank you for being a member, says, Larry, I appreciate your perspective on why companies ignore master's degrees. As someone starting a business, when I'm not at work, it makes sense from a hiring standpoint. Correct. Yes, correct. Absolutely. Absolutely correct. Let me keep going. I'm going to grab some more of these in a second.
There's a middle ground where everybody's trying to hire right now, and this application is outwardly saying it. I just don't know how a majority of people survive in this market. We have a
They're not. They're not suffering alone. Here's the problem. Our unhappiness is destroying us. Because we're so unhappy, that means we don't want to go to work because we're searching. Remember, the happier you are, the less you strive for short-term pleasure. The less happy you are, the more you strive for short-term pleasure. So we're all striving for short-term pleasure on our phones or on our computers, whatever. We don't want to work, right? Unless if we don't have a good job, don't want to at all. So, yep, say all the time. Well, guess what? You don't want to work. You don't want to show up to work. What are you going to do? You can't meet people. You're not meeting people. You're staying home. So you have to have either a roommate who you hate or you live with your parents. Remember, there was a time when if you were 30, the odds are you had a live-in girlfriend, boyfriend, or you were getting married or a fiance or something. That was very common. Well, if you got two incomes coming in, you could make it. But when you don't, that's a whole lot harder.
comment from one of you guys. I worked at a daycare and was in the ER for 103 fever, and my boss was aware of that, but still asked if I could come in the next day. I said no, but they wouldn't take a no. This was before COVID, and I didn't go in. I mean,
now here's the issue. You might go, why wouldn't he ask to be forward? You got a fever. What does that mean? Right? But not just that. Here's the other part that some of you are going to be shocked at. People lie all the time. He knew it. Why? Because you told him that? Maybe you were, and maybe you were hanging out with your friends. I don't know what you were doing. Who knows? Don't get mad at him for asking. Just don't go in.
Being around small children when you're clearly very sick, 103-degree fever, but bosses don't care, still want you in. It's just really unbelievable.
Here we go again. These LinkedIn application and job postings for social media management and strategist positions are wild because people do not know what they actually need and are asking for the wrong things.
Okay, they don't know what they need and are asking for the wrong thing. Ryan says, people lie? No, I know it's true, Ryan. I know it's true. Yes, it does happen sometimes. Okay, that's what he says, that people don't know what they need. Okay.
So this is for a social media, what they call internship.
Okay, what they call internship. No, what is an internship?
And yet, you're responsible for content creation.
Yep.
Developing like a social strategist and on-brand content. There's analytics and reporting, campaign support, community engagement. Like this is more than an internship plateful. What they're really trying to do is pay somebody the least amount of money to basically run all of their socials.
Okay, two parts of this. This is just a constant attack on business owners. It's why I'm upset. Because it paints every business owner as a horrible, greedy person. Now, are there horrible, greedy people? Of course, but as workers too. There's some workers who are horrible, greedy people too. They're not greedy because they're business owners. There's just horrible, greedy people. Of course. Now, they're trying to pay the least possible. Yes, when he goes out, when Mr. I wear a wool cap inside goes out, when this guy goes outside, does he say, I'm going to pay the most money I can for my wool cap? No, he pays the least amount. Well, that affects everyone's salaries. Is he a horrible person? No, we all, when we go out, not all, most of us go out and pay the least we can pay for anything. Why is that by default evil? This part drives me crazy. He's just trying to say, oh, business owners are evil. Not just that. If you're so good at all of these things, right? If you're good at this and then all these things, why would you take an internship? Here's the reality. If you take the internship, you don't know shit or you suck at your job. That's why you would take it. Otherwise, you wouldn't take that job. So who's taking that job? Someone who knows nothing. So what are they actually getting? Responsibilities and a resume builder. But they don't want that because I showed up. Therefore, I should make $1 bazillion a second because I showed up. No, you suck at what you do or you wouldn't imagine taking that internship. You don't know what you're doing. So you go take the internship, have lots of responsibilities. You do it for 3 to 6 months, whatever the time period is for that kind of job. I don't know the time period, whatever it is. You do your 3 to 6 months. You then learn stuff. You probably screw half of it up because you're incompetent, or you leave in the first 30 days because you're an idiot, but don't know what to do. So you leave. So instead, you do it right 3 to 6 months. They get something. What do they? And when you get in return, you get a resume builder. Larry, if I'm sure I'm going to get paid, good, stay home. I don't mean to be cruel on this, right? Lars brought this up. AI is here. The robots are coming. You can stay home and hope UBI gets enacted, and you get your check, and you can put your octagons, whatever that thing's on, the octacle, whatever that thing's called, put that on and live in that world. You can do it if you want to. Or you can start thinking that people aren't by default evil and greedy. They're not. They're apathetic. They're trying to get the best they can. And so should you. And so should you. The problem we're having is everyone here is acting like they have no agency. Like, the world's against me. It's not. It isn't.
Like, I know exactly what would happen if you got there.
Tell me.
It would not be that you're assisting somebody. It would be that you're responsible for it to figure it out. And really, you should.
And Zach here doesn't know any better. The guy, he's like, yeah, it's terrible. Okay, let me ask you. Let's say you're 22. Just got out of college. You have some idiot degree that means nothing, which is most people do, right? By the way, Forbes tells us what degrees make sense. 3 degrees make a lot of sense. And not including specialized like doctor, lawyer, not including those, that's obvious. Non-like doctor, lawyer degrees. 3, engineering, computing, and nursing. Those are the 3. Those are the 3. Engineering, computing, nursing. The other ones, you threw your money in the garbage, right? Unless it's specialized, like you know where you're going, right? If you know where you're going, most people don't. But if you're saying, hey, I want to be a teacher, you can get a degree in whatever, education or whatever, because you know where you're going, right? Or I want to be a doctor, so I go biology. Makes total sense, right? If you know where you're going. Most don't. They don't know where they're going. And you get a degree, and it's useless. Well, now you got a degree, it's useless. And here comes someone saying, hey, come work for me, I'll teach you the ropes. No, you got to pay me. Stay home, or you know what? Be a barista, which is what people are doing. Be a barista. The amount of baristas I've met here in New York who have master's degrees. Oh my God.
Be paid as a social media strategist, if not a VP of social media marketing.
Yes, but you're not qualified for that, you retard. You're not. Put that hat on tighter because something's up. Your brain's falling out. Why would I pay you as a VP when you have no experience? You're looking at taking an internship. What VP of social media marketing would imagine in any way, shape, or form taking an internship? Never. Never. I really hope that this guy is just joking. Sadly, Zach is like, this is true. Yeah, it makes sense. He's nodding his head. He doesn't know any better.
This is the kind of thing that if you're a social media manager, or even if you're a client, you need to be looking out for, so you understand A, what you're applying for, and B, what you're asking for. Because I'm so sick of these types of job posts.
Yeah, but no one's taking it. Who thinks what you want? You're just getting TikTok clout, I guess.
But these companies know how desperate so many people are just to get a job, period, that if you just read the description.
Okay, there's no money involved. It's not a job. It's an
For this
internship.
posting, you'd know you'd be doing way more than what the initial title would want you to do. But
yeah, Ryan says St. Louis, KC, and Chicago also have a lot of baristas and master's degrees too. Yes. And the federal government keeps throwing money at people, saying take more money, get more degrees, get more education. It's not the answer, right? There was a story, I forgot who it was. He was talking about why people work in China, why people looking to start their companies and bring their work over to China. And most people say, well, it's because, cheap, simple labor. That's not the cheapest labor right now isn't in China when it comes to factory work. It actually isn't in China anymore. It was for many years. It is no longer that. There are other places that give you actually cheap labor. Mexico's actually pretty cheap and it's close to America. So so many factories going to Mexico. Vietnam is cheaper. A lot of those are. Why do they want China? Because of tech workers. China has literally a whole lot more engineers, computer guys, and stuff like that than we do. That's the truth. That's the truth. They're not getting master's degrees. They're getting engineering degrees, and then they're going to work. They're better off in that regard. Yes, we are still living in 1995, 1985 even, and you can't. And the reason is, it's not we aren't changing because our government has set up an incentivized system, so we won't change. That's why.
I bet they'll still get a list of people applying for the job, and then they'll probably even lowball them as well.
Oh God, I keep swapping the wrong one out, guys. I apologize. I put the wrong one on. Perfect time, by the way. LinkedIn, finding jobs. Perfect. Literally the perfect. Let me keep going this. And it's nursing jobs. Oh my God. Hold on. I actually have to show this to you. It's what we're talking about. I'm sorry. This popped up as an advertisement. And it's literally for nursing jobs. I'm not joking. This is an advertisement that happened to pop up. Nurse, yes.
All in the place that helps more nurses find jobs that fit and gives more nurses more to care about.
Literally just popped up. Nursing, a degree that matters. Yes, I know that sounds absolutely insane, but it's absolutely true. Hold on, let me now change this. I don't want to give you guys commercials all the time, so let me pop up. Hold on. Okay, let me put it back up. I apologize. I had the wrong one on. I got to be good there. I have multiple accounts, and I often forget which account I'm on. And yeah, this is the one we want. Here we go.
So many people are just to get a job, period, that if you just read the description for this posting, you'd know you'd be doing way more than what the initial title would want you to do.
And you could always stop. It's an internship. They're not paying you, right?
I bet they'll still get a list of people applying for the job, and then they'll probably.
Joel says there are paid internships. Get one of those and hobnob rub. There are too. And New York City decided to wreck internships. It decided to say you can't do free internships anymore. You have to pay them. At least at the time it was like $10 an hour, maybe more now. So now you can't do. It's against the law to do. I don't know why people start businesses in New York City anymore. I don't know why they do it. There's literally no reason to. New York State in general. And by the way, that's actually true. The vast majority of new jobs started in New York State are because of government funding. I'm not even joking. Because why would you start a business in New York State? New York State, if you're a big business sponsored by the government, loves you. You are basically the greatest in the world. If you are not that, if you are a small business, you are the evilest thing in the world. You're terrible. Why are you in my city? Get out. That's how they think. So, yeah.
Probably even lowball them as well. Here's one that I thought was crazy. Just for the application for Abercrombie & Fitch management, you need the first name, last name, your address, and then social security number. Seems like something you wouldn't need to shell out for.
Okay. He isn't that bright. It's for some reason. Or he's just crazy. Okay. What does it say? Abercrombie & Fitch Management Company Opportunity Tax Credit Questionnaire. Tax Credit Questionnaire. That's why you need a social security number. You could just read, homeboy. He just wants to be mad. Like he just wants to be mad. Yes. And there's a little button there that says, if you look at it, I don't know if you can see it. Let me make it bigger for you. If you can, can you see this here? Hold on. Right in this area where I'm circling right now, it says why we need this. You could just click right there and it would tell you that, right? You're not working for Abercrombie & Fitch to go work in the store. If you look at the bottom here, it says, have you worked with Abercrombie & Fitch Management Company? It's not the store. He's working in the finance department, which is why you require a social security number. You have to do a credit check on people like this, because if you have a credit problem, they're not going to hire you. That's legal, by the way. If you're going to be dealing with finances and you have terrible credit, they cannot hire you because of that. They can. Other reasons doesn't matter, right? Other things. And also, they can also do a criminal check, because if you've been convicted of fraud or embezzlement, they don't want to hire you, and that is legal, right? They can't not hire you just because you're a felon. But if the felony or the problem is directly related to the job, they can do it, right? If you're applying to, work as an accountant and you just got out of a joint for embezzlement, they don't want to hire you. You're a proven embezzler. So yeah, he doesn't get it. That's the funny thing is he just wants to be mad. The reason why this whole thing got me triggered.
Or an application. And then,
I know, Mike, you're mad at me now. I got triggered. I did.
Even under it there Are you under the age of 40? Yes and no probably would hurt you in that market, especially A&F is supposed to be for young people. It's like hip clothes. And if you're an old fart, then I guess they're just going to pass on your application anyway. We have another one that's just a message from one of the recruiters. We live in a very expensive area of the country. This job would not pay enough for you to support an apartment. So right off the bat, they know that they're not paying their employees enough.
And they're telling you up front, why would you take this job? This is probably a new company, a startup, and some people like the startup world. Some people are prepared to jump into that, hope the thing, roll the dice, hope and jump up, right? And hope it explodes and they make tons of money. Now, if that's not you, this job isn't for you. But some people love it. Some people do it and don't care. Some people will do it just for the thrill. Now, if that's not you, no worries. Just don't do it.
To even live there, let alone thrive. Do you have family here or people you could live with? What would you do if you moved there and it did not work out? I mean, how do you think you're going to get employees at all then if you're...
I just told you how he doesn't understand that. This guy he's talking shit about a field that he has no idea what he's talking about. And he's authoritative. Let me tell you how this works. How are you going to do this? I just explained it to you. And then why in the world, who is forcing you to take this? Like, is somebody forcing him? You have to do this job. No, you don't. Go, oh, no, that's not for me. I don't want that. I want a steady job. Someone else might go, ooh, wait a minute. What's going on here? And jump on board. Yes. So Joel over on Rumble says, research Larry Sharpe for governor of New York in the 2016 election. I keep commenting on Hochul Facebook points. I'm getting likes, not hate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Guys, I love that. I do appreciate that. I like the likes. If I can get more of them, I'll take as many of them as I possibly can get. I'll take all the love I can get, guys. I appreciate it. I am trying to keep moving, if that makes any sense. So, yes. All righty. Let me keep moving on here. Herschel says, Sharpe is triggered more than Alec Baldwin's gun on a movie set. Mine's not going to go off. I'm not hurting anybody. So, yes, absolutely. Uptown says, run for governor again. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate the support. Let me grab some more of these.
You're asking these questions right off the bat. Clearly, the cost of living is too much for what you're paying. So your company is just not going to be sustainable. I feel like it's...
See, okay. This is the argument all the time. All the time. Well, then if you can't afford to hire people, don't hire them. Well, don't take the job. So let's stifle small business. Let's be mad. Let's be mad that everywhere you go, it's big business running everything. And then let's stifle small business so no one can compete. That's what you're saying. This guy acts like he's smart. Maybe he's smart. But in this case, he has no idea what he's talking about. Why would you stifle small business and then complain everything's big business? Well, because you stifled everybody else. Don't take the job. No one's forcing you. Mike, thank you for being out here tonight. Larry says, is this kid supposed to be some kind of college whisperer? He validates the feelings of entitlement, making money on views by telling the students they are correct to want without experience. Yes, I think this is for clicks, man. Now, to be forward, a lot of these people who you see talking this way, particularly on TikTok. I mean, it's everywhere, but it's heavily on TikTok. These are people who have decided they know best, decided they're all entitled, and every business owner is evil. And that's the black and white thinking. And I want to be clear. There are absolutely greedy people in this world and greedy business owners. 100%, of course there are. And there's greedy workers. And every one of you has known them. The worker who comes to work, does as little work as possible, scams all day and complains and takes all the money that the owner will give and does nothing for it. That's a greedy employee. Those exist too. They all can. Yes. And that's the thing that people just don't want to get. They want to act like it's just a capitalist. Is the guy who started a small plumbing business some massive capitalist? Right? Is that some kind of massive capitalist? Some guy who like has 3 plumbers and a couple of assistants trying to make things work in his local community? Yeah, but you'll hammer him. You will hammer him in 5 seconds. Michael Zona say recession started August 2022 when Biden changed definition. Thank you. Yes. It's not a recession anymore, Mike, because they changed definition. So it's no longer one. Why? We don't call it that anymore. That's it. So yes, totally correct. We've been in a recession for a while. The question is when and if a crash will hit. I think the odds are getting higher. A crash will hit this year, but I don't know if that's true. I think the odds are higher. And then the second question becomes, when do we pull out of it? Do we pull out of it quickly? I hope so. Or is this something that lasts a long time? I don't actually know. I wish I might want to do some homework on that and see if I can get an opinion. I don't have I don't have a strong opinion on that, whether we are going into one this year. My gut tells me we are, but that's just feels. That's not data. So take that for whatever you want. I don't have data on that. Just my feeling says. I guess that's good. I don't know. I don't know how fast we'll come out of it. So we'll see. I wouldn't bet on my feelings, by the way. So yes. Yeah, let me keep going here.
Pretty straightforward, honestly. Here we have another comment from one of you guys. What I find dumb is people who work in management who think it's a flex, saying that they work through birthdays of their kids and or during funerals of their families, like on call 24/7. Like that isn't a flex. It's just pathetic. And I think that goes really well with.
Now he says that, but I bet this guy works all the time. And the sad part is, I get that you might not think it's a flex that you work hard. I understand that you miss like family, whatever issues. I get you might say that. But the problem is we've gone the opposite. Now the guy or gal who works hard, he's the sucker now. He's the bad guy. How dare you? And I know this. I've trained city agencies who are heavily unionized, as you probably know, New York City agencies heavily unionized. And they say the same thing all the time. They tell me, they go, Larry, we can't work that hard. I said, what? We can't work that hard. What? Why can't you work that hard? Well, because then everyone gets mad at us. What do you mean get mad at us? Because then we're making them look bad because they don't want to work hard. What? Yes, that's a thing. That's a thing. We can't work hard. Why? Because then we make them look bad. Because if I work really hard, then the boss will go, why can't you work hard like that guy? So people get mad at you. And the union reps come to you and get mad at you. They say, stop working so hard. Don't come early. Don't leave late. Don't do that. Now, I'm not saying you need to or have to. You should do the job that you're paid for. I believe that. My point is, if somebody wants to work hard, you're going to shame them now? Maybe the guy or gal likes the job and wants to work hard. Maybe they want to get promoted. Maybe they want to start their own business. Let them. I'm not saying you have to. You do the job you're getting paid for. Okay. Follow the job description you got when you got hired. Okay. But somebody wants to work hard and you're going to shame them? That's how it works now. They're shaming the guy who wants to work hard and build his career up. If that guy thinks it's a flex, then it is, because he thinks it's a flex. If you don't, then it's not for you. I'm not judging you for working hard. Why are you for not working hard? Why are you judging him for working hard? Maybe he loves his job. Maybe he wants to get promoted. But here's the problem. They will always go, he should get promoted. This is what they'll do. And again, if you've worked in a shop that I'm telling you about, you know what I'm talking about. He should get promoted. Why? He's only been here 2 years. I've been here 5. Yes, but you suck. And you're a jerk. And you don't do your job well. You're bad at what you do, and you're an ass. And no one likes you. So why would they promote you? Because I've been here. I did my time. I don't care about your time. You suck at what you do. You shouldn't get promoted. I'm just being forward. But in many instances, I am wrong, because they will see the 5 years and promote them. Because 5 years. Because time is what matters. Now that's going away. Now you might go, Larry, that's bad. It isn't. The problem is unions haven't shifted yet. Unions have to shift into that mindset. Unions are still in the 1950s, 60s mindset. That's why they're failing. That's why they're failing right now, by the way. They're failing my corrections officers right now. They're failing because they're in 1950s, 60s mindset. So, and the business is like, we don't like that mindset anymore. So now we're enemies. I mean, they've been enemies before, but now it's worse. So yes. Jared says, bringing your parents to interviews is wild. I have Asperger's and can struggle with interviews, but I die of embarrassment if my parents came to the interview with me. They don't know any better. They don't know any better. They really don't. They don't know any better. And there's a thing they've changed, right? From, and Kim brings up, I'm sorry. Mike goes on and says, why would you ever think you need your parents to get your job? And then Kim says, that's how dependent kids are on their parents, Mike. Sad but true. Kim, you are yet again on the money with that. That is accurate. Yes. They bring it all the time. They do. They don't know any better. They can't imagine not having mom and dad around. They can't imagine. They can't imagine. Yes. So, all righty. Michael's gonna say, read my mind. What's wrong with commission? You have to work hard. Yeah. And again, if you don't like commission, no commission, Mike, you played the commission game. I know you used to be a broker. You played a commission game, right? So you know there's a certain type of person who wants to play that game. Not everybody wants it. So don't take that job. For those of you who know, Mike used to be a stockbroker. So if you're a stockbroker, that's a specific type of job, a specific type of personality that does that, right? I used to sell cars. I used to sell beds. As I told you before, I used to sell lots of things. I used to sell Christmas trees when I was a kid. Yes. So special type of personality for that. I do not mind commission at all. Doesn't bother me at all. Some people don't like it. No worries. Yes, you do you. That's all I'm saying. You do you. All right. I don't know. And why are you mad? I go back to it. Why are they mad?
The next clip.
The record for most days worked in a row is 34 days. Anybody that beats that gets $250. The record for the best.
Look at him going, why? What's wrong with you? Look at him saying that.
First check, new people might want to pay attention to this one, is $1,625. If anybody beats that, they get an additional $1,000 bonus on top of that. So you got to beat 1625 and you'll make an extra 1,000. The record for the best day is 14. Beat that and you get $500. And the record for the best week is 52. You beat that, you get a $2,500 bonus.
So, I mean, I get it. It's not all bad. Clearly, you're going to get some more money. If you beat any of these records,
why is this a problem? Okay, assuming that you're satisfied with that job, right? I don't know if you are or not, but if you are, just do your job. Now, clearly something else he doesn't get. That job is obviously a heavily commission-based job, right? So anyone working that job literally is working some form of commission already. He doesn't get that. He thinks like, oh, they're just like factory workers or something. No, they're obviously working some form of commission, right? They may not even be employees. They may be contractors, which is why he says you have to work 34 days in a row. Because if you're not an employee, that means you don't have to work every day. You work when you want to. When I was a commission employee, I've been at commission contract. I've been at more than once. I work when I want to work. If I don't want to work, I don't work, right? Because I'm not getting paid. I get paid when I win. I eat what I kill. Obviously, that's the kind of environment they're in. He doesn't understand that.
But the first one right off the bat, you get $250 extra if you work for more than a month straight. That's exactly what one of the comments from you guys was just talking about.
Yes, because you don't understand, because you don't get it, because you're ignorant, but you think you're smart. Someone made you think that you're savvy because you got a whole bunch of likes. Wonderful. People like you. You're all wrong.
About like it's a flex to work every single day, exhausting yourself for a company that you know if you left or got fired or died, they would immediately put your job posting out and within days it could be filled and you're just gone forever. Just
okay. What if the company goes under? You'd go off another job. Is the company supposed to love you somehow? The company is not demanding loyalty from you. It's saying if you're loyal, well, no, sorry, loyal is the wrong one. Say loyalty, fine. If you're loyal, we'll give you more money. Don't be loyal. You don't have to be. They're not saying you have to work 34 days in a row. If you do, you get more money. Now, you as the individual go, you know what? Loyalty, not so important to me. I'm going to do my 4 or 5 days a week that I want, make my money, and go home and enjoy my life. Okay. And I've known people to do that. And if you've worked in this world, you know. And I know Mike's background. So Mike, I'm sure, remembers brokers who were in the goddamn office 24 hours a day and those who were kind of scamming around and not making much money. And whatever's whatever. You do what you got to do. You're commission-based. Some guys will do the hustle and try to close a deal every day. Some will work for a long time and get one big hit and be happy for a couple of weeks. Up to them. No, they act like you're being forced, and these people are already in this environment already. This is just
a
ignorance.
Cog in the machine, a number in their system.
And you're just another job. Your resume is just another company you worked for.
This screenshot kind of shows what the job market's looking like right now. We are cooked. Chat update on the job application from McDonald's. Thank you for your interest in McDonald's. At this time, we decided to pursue other applicants. If you got denied by McDonald's, I mean, you know it's really bad out there.
Okay, he's just saying that to slam somebody. Here's the reality. You can be pushed away from McDonald's for many reasons. Many reasons. You know one of the biggest reasons why McDonald's want to hire you? One of the biggest reasons? A gap in your resume. Yes, a gap in your resume. Yes. So if you're 18, 19, you don't have a gap in your resume. You'll get hired. So they often hire young people. What if you're 25, 30, 40? What if you're in your 50s? Because maybe you were a self-employed guy for a while, gal for a while. Maybe you stayed home with your kids for a while, getting back into the workforce now and make some extra cash. Maybe your spouse got fired. You can make extra money now because they got fired. So you go on McDonald's, all you can think you could do. You got a massive gap. They don't hire you. Why? What do they assume? You're desperate or you were just in jail. I'm not joking. They think it was a prison sentence. In fact, AI goes through this. This is a true thing. Those of you who are in hiring know I'm right. AI goes through this. And when AI goes through this, they look for a very specific number. Last I checked, it may have changed. Let's check. The specific number was 4 months. If you have 4 months gap, they would say, fishy. When I was in this business years ago in the 90s, I worked for a company that did screening for this stuff. It was no AI then. We literally had people who would call up. We had people who on the phone who will call your job. We did background investigation for people who were hiring. That's why I know this field so much. I've been in it for decades, right? So we would literally call people up. Did he work there? Did she work there? And if we had a gap that they could not account for 3 months, no hire. You had to account for those 3 months, no hire. Now I think AI does 4 months. It might be different, but if someone happens to know what the number is, I would love that. So the AI goes through it, up to the gap, out, and you get this automated thing. So he's like, you're cooked. No, could be a gap in your resume. Could be, depending on what you do. What if you're actually trying to work, for in a store, and maybe you have a violent felony. They don't want violent felons in the store. You're working with customers, right? And if you're working in the back, they may not care. To be forward, it sounds weird, but if you're working in the back where you're not dealing with customer service, they may not care if you have a violent felony. I know it may sound weird, but it's true. But if you're working with the public and you have a history of violence, they would rather you not be working there if at all possible. So yes, there are many reasons why.
We appreciate the time and effort you took to apply for the part-time crew member role. I mean, McDonald's turnover rate must be insane. So if they're denying people, man, oh no. I think we are, in fact, cooked, chat. Here you have a headline for a news article just a couple of weeks ago. Job report shows a hiring slowdown as companies are acting like they're in a recession. Wow.
Yeah, true. That's what we were just talking about. See, the companies know. The government is saying not true because they changed definition. Well, companies kind of know. They do kind of know. Yes. Shelly says, my highest paying jobs were self-employed and leaving my college degrees off my resume. Yes. Did you just hear what she put? Leaving my college degrees off my resume. The amount of times I've gone through people's resumes, they ask me to help them out. Hey, Larry, I'm getting a job. Can you do it? Yeah, of course. What job is it? This job? Okay. I'd have them dumb their resume down. Literally dumb the resume down. Like, I haven't got a job in 2 months. Give me a resume. Okay, why this? And it always the same thing. Well, I'm proud. I got that. I got to show them that. No, you don't. No, you don't. They don't care. But I got this certificate, a degree. They don't care. In fact, all it does, if it goes in the AI system, it shows you don't match. So we're not calling you back. Or they think you're going to want too much money. Well, I don't care. It's your job. Well, it doesn't matter. It's going to throw back. Well, I'm trying to see if anything. No. Targeted resume, targeted cover letter to specific job, or you are wasting your time. Shelly, you are exactly correct. You put the college degree down if the college degree matters for the job. Your pride is irrelevant. No one cares about your pride. As you will hear me say all the time, one of the smartest things I was ever able to learn how to do is put my pride in my pocket. And you, as any human being, you should be able to put your pride in your pocket. Nobody cares about your degree if it doesn't match the job. So don't bother putting it down. They don't care. Thank you for that, Shelly. I appreciate that. Yes. Just to make sure that I wasn't just making stuff up. And some people think, Larry's making stuff up. No, that's how it works. Yes. Lars called it had a woke cap. I like that. It's funny. Yes. All righty. Let's see if I can go down here a couple more. Joel says greed is good. Gordon Gecko says greed is good. I'm not sure that's true. I know Gordon Gekko says it, but I'm not sure Gordon Gekko is the guy that, yeah, I'm not sure that's the guy we want to follow. That's all I'm saying. That he was not a nice guy if you saw that movie. So I'm not sure. Yeah. So let me keep going.
Oh, it is almost like the government just isn't saying outwardly to the public that we're in a recession, but we've been
Correct.
in one for quite a long time. Here's
Yes,
kind of
Mike
one
said
of
it.
the upsetting posts on Reddit. Finally got a job. Never thought I'd be celebrating a 40% pay cut and going from remote to in person, but here we are. I thought I had every advantage. Advanced STEM degree from a top school and 14 years experience. I mean, you can't really get much better than that on it.
Yes, you can. This is my point. Everyone thinks, I'm exaggerating. Still, too many, that's a better way of saying it. Too many people think if I put a whole lot of stuff, they have to pay me for it. They don't care. And here's the hardest part. And for those of you who have this situation, it's going to be tough on you. And you may want to adjust your resume in some way, shape, or form. If you've been with one company for a very long period of time, many employers think you're stagnant. I know that hurts people who've had that. A lot of employers think you're stagnant. They go, why didn't he move? Do people not like him? Does he have no ambition? Does she not want to work? Is she not good? Why is she there for so long? I know it seems to make no sense. If you go back 30 years, it was the opposite. You go back 30 years, it was the opposite. Everybody wanted you to be in a company for 10, 15 years, 20 years. They wanted it. That was the thing. Now, best case scenario now, 3 to 5 years, gone. 3 to 5 years, gone. 3 to 5 years, gone. That's the best resume now. And some of you are like, what? That's the best resume now. Guys, if you're a hirer, please tell me if I'm wrong on this. 3 to 5 years, out. 3 to 5 years, out. 3 to 5 years, out. That's the best resume now. That's how people are looking at it now for hiring managers. They like that. That's the best way. So he's like, I got an advanced degree. Yeah, I got a master's degree that no one cares about. Everything I'm saying keeps popping up. I was talking about master's degrees in college. Was it 2 days ago? I was about college. And Shin was watching and she was like, no, Larry, you're wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. Right? So Shelly says, I worked on a Tappan Z with our teachers and PhDs. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. All right. But anyway, let me keep going with this guy.
But still took me almost 6 months to get a job. That's a 40% pay cut and no more remote options. Still celebrating though. Hope the market turns around eventually.
Here's the problem. What this person does poorly, and I know this already. I can tell already by just, the person doesn't show how the benefit they bring. The person does what most people do. This is a common thing. So when I adjust resumes all the time, most people have a resume out, and the resume is responsibilities they had. I have 10 years doing this, 10 years doing that, 10 years doing this, 3 years doing that, 2 years doing this, advanced degree, advanced degree, advanced degree. You've told me nothing. You told me only one thing. You can't communicate well, and or you don't look at outcomes. Outcomes don't matter to you. That's nothing but bad. I don't want that person. Yeah. But Larry, what's the rest of us look like? Tell me what you've accomplished. He doesn't do that. How do I know that? Because he didn't do it here. He didn't say, see, he would have written here if he knew how to do that. He would have written, I've achieved this, I've done this, I've done that, and I can't get a degree. Okay, you communicate better. That's something else. He just says, look at what I have. I'm amazing. You should hire me. Nobody cares. That's why you take a 40% pay cut. And they won't let you work from home. Why would they let you work from home? They don't believe you can achieve anything. Why? Your resume says you don't care about outcomes. I wouldn't let you work from home either. I wouldn't either. You think you're great because you got achievements, because you have a resume. What have you done? What have you done? I know I'm being cruel or sounding cruel when I say this. This is how the world works and thinks. I'm explaining to you why this person has this. And the problem is that they go on TikTok, their circle goes, yeah, business bad. What they should do is come to my channel and I will tell them how to fix your goddamn resume. You'll get a job. You won't take a 40% pay cut. You know how to actually communicate. When I'm reading this, this guy's just entitled. I don't want this guy. No, he's coming to the office. Why? He's going to sit at home and think he deserves something. He's coming to office. But he might say no. Good. There's 25 people like him lining up. That's what I'm thinking. I know it sounds mean, but that's what I'm thinking. There's 14 guys like him. He'll come in. And Larry, that's cruel. Yes. But let me ask the opposite. Let me ask the opposite. What if I needed a guy who had 14 years experience? And he said, you got to pay me more. And I said, nah, I can't afford it. Too bad. I'm only got around 14 years, but it's going to hurt me. Too bad. You got to pay me. So he can be a jerk all day long. And I'm not coming in every day. What do you mean? I need you in the office every day. Nope. I'm going to come in 2 days a week. 3 days a week, I'm working from home. That's how I'm doing it. Oh, come on. Too bad. Okay, fine. Yes. I got to say yes. Now I'm over about it. Would he be upset? No, he'd be happy. See, I got Larry. Well, Larry's thinking the same way to him. What did Trump say? Who got the cards? He thought he had all the cards. He got Pokemon cards. You play Magic the Gathering. You got the wrong cards, homeboy. You got the wrong cards. Ain't gonna work here. You play Magic the Gathering. Get that Pokemon stuff someplace else. Know how that works. Anyway, yes, by the way, Magic the Gathering is a superior game. Just in case you were asking, it is true, it is. Anyway, so let me keep going.
Just sounds like a defeated post. Of course, some money is better than no money, but if you want to have that college degree argument, everybody says to go into some sort of STEM field. Don't get any of the worthless meme degrees, gender studies, whatever. And this is exactly what this person has, along with 14 years of experience. Now, I bet that probably hurts them because, again, these companies want to pay bottom of the barrel prices, and somebody with over...
See that? They want to pay because they're greedy. These companies, do you mean every company? And this is what he's saying, if every company wants to pay bottom of the barrel, then every company by default is greedy. That's what he's trying to say. Right? That's what he's trying to say. Yeah. And he's wrong. They're just companies. They're apathetic. But doesn't every worker want to get the most money? Are they all greedy too? No, not in his view. Shin, oh, you are back. Shin, just talked about you. Trump just signed an executive order dismantling the Department of Education. I'm not unhappy about that. Shin says totally unconstitutional. I'm not sure that's true. I think the courts will decide that. I think the Department of Education itself is by default unconstitutional. The Department of Education is not in the Constitution. Controlling education is not in the Constitution. So I would argue the opposite, but I understand your argument. Not just that, as I've gone through, and I will go through again if you want me to, the Department of Education is literally harming education. It's not neutral. It's not helping. It is literally harming. And one of the reasons I brought earlier in this show that I brought earlier is the Department of Education facilitates all the money going into schools, right? The billions upon billions of dollars. New York State, I think it's 8 billion. Maine, talk about just Maine, it's like 3 billion in Maine. It's like 8 billion in New York City, in New York State, like that, maybe even more now with all the stuff that they're doing. And what does that mean? That's why we push kids into college, because they're giving money based upon college placement. So now we don't have vocational training. That's gone because of the federal government. They're forcing it. They're forcing people into this thought process of go get a degree. Doesn't matter what it is. College is valuable no matter what. It isn't. We're seeing it right now. It is not by default valuable. It's valuable if you have a plan or something else. It was Goldman Sachs, I think, who did a study on this back about 15 years ago. And they came up with the idea that if you're not going to a specialized school, meaning either Ivy League or very specific for your world, considering the debt that you will take on and the opportunity costs, it's not worth going to college. And Goldman Sachs said that in 2008. So again, if you have a plan, it is a great idea. If you don't, it is a waste of money. But we push it because of the federal government putting dollars in it. Not just that. That's why we don't have civics. That's why we don't have home ec. That's why we don't have Sharpe, because that's not on the test, because they're also decided by what the tests they take and the test scores. So we teach them the test, which doesn't matter. And they push worthless degrees, which again, there are 3. Forbes just came out this last year. 3 degrees that pay. 3. Again, unless you have a plan. I got to keep saying that, unless you have a plan. Engineering, computers, nursing. Those are the 3. And we just happened to see a nursing commercial that popped up from LinkedIn to get nursing jobs when the commercial popped up here on YouTube. So yes. So I would argue it's not unconstitutional, and glad let it go away tomorrow. Let it go under. It is only hurting. I will repeat this again for anyone who didn't hear it in the back. I say this all the time. Every single president that we've ever had has been educated when there was no Department of Education. One more time. Every single president we've ever had has been educated before there was the Department of Education. Department of Education came out officially around 79, but didn't really do anything until the 80s, right? That's when that's when it started wrecking things. It started wrecking things in the 80s. Prior to that, it wasn't anything. It started wrecking things in the 80s. That's when everything went downhill. And look at everywhere we are. Everything is worse. No one would say American education is better. Our kids literally can't read. I'm not making that up. If you think I'm making this up, there's a lawsuit now out of Connecticut. A woman who graduated, I'm not making this up. Do your own homework, I'm making an assumption. She graduated, top of her class, valedictorian, out of high school. She is functionally illiterate and got into college. She's suing because she's functionally illiterate. And she graduated valedictorian. I'm not making this up. My Mayor Eric Adams, said 2 years ago, we're going to start teaching our kids how to read. Not 200 years ago, 2 years ago. Again, just Google it. I'm not making any of this up. We weren't teaching phonics in New York State. We weren't teaching our kids to read. I tell so often, my daughter, why did she get out of college in 2 years? Because her last year of high school was COVID. It was lockdowns. That was the last year of high school. I said, don't go to college. Don't go to school. She said, what? I said, don't go to school. She said, what? Don't go to school. Don't go to school. Just go to college instead. So I sent her to college her last year in high school. She got 1 year knocked out. What do you mean she went to school? They'll graduate her. And they did. My daughter didn't go to school last year. And she got a high school diploma. Now she has a college degree. Gone. That's her school system. And you want me to defend that piece of shit, Department of Education? I'm not defending that shit. It's garbage. It is harmful. Things are worse because of it. Let it die. Totally fine with it. No issues whatsoever. I don't know if that makes sense. But I don't know if you agree with that, but yeah. Laura says, recession incoming, but it'll be short-lived as AI pushes world GDP up record levels. I hope you're right, my friend. I really do. I am unsure about this, and I hope you are right. I really do. Shin says, Trump ought to get congressional approval once this dismantle the department. He never will. Okay. Shin says, Trump ought to get congressional approval if he wants to dismantle the education department. He never will. He can't. They would never do that. Why? Their money comes from that. Money comes from that. That's a moneymaker. Why? What congressman is going to say, I want less money going to my state? Never going to happen. Not because they care about education. They don't. They don't. They don't care about that. But because they care about cash. So, no, that's silly. No way. No way.
For 10 years of experience is probably an expert and will demand a solid amount of pay. And that's why he lost almost 50% of what.
No, because he's an expert and that's why he lost. So this is how nutty this guy is. He thinks I, as an employer, don't want an expert. Does it make any sense? I don't want an expert. I want a guy who's incompetent. What? No, I want a guy who's expert enough to whatever I want. Just because you're super duper expert, why do I care? Right? If I want you to be able to make cups and you go, well, I can also make glasses. I'm not asking for that. I make cups, but I can also make chairs. That's wonderful, but I don't care. I want you to make cups. Well, you got to pay because I'm an expert. No, I don't. I just want to make cups, dude. You're getting paid to make cups. You don't like it? Go someplace else. I got 45 guys who can make cups. Yeah, but they can't make chairs and plates. I don't care. He doesn't get that.
He was making previously. And we have another comment from one of you guys. When I was 16 years old, I got a job at Chuck E. Cheese as a party host, meaning I brought out the pizza and soda and cake and danced next to another teen in the Chuck E. Cheese suit for the birthdays. My grandfather, who I was raised with as a father figure, passed away, and I informed my manager that I needed some time off. He called me on the night of his wake and asked where I was. I told him I was heading to my grandfather's wake, and he said, so what time are you going to come in tonight? To Chuck E. Cheese's, man. I quit on the spot. How do you think people with minimum wage jobs is so much more important than family things, especially a death in the family? And this is not a one-off comment.
Okay. You could just say no. You can just say no. You can just say, hey, boss, appreciate it. No, I'm not coming in until Thursday. Oh, okay. Is what he would say. Now, how do I know that? All right. There are very few, particularly in today's world, employees that show up on time and show up consistently. Very few. I tell the story all the time. You guys may know this all the time. I tell a story on how when I was running 2018, a guy says, Larry, you're so right. This is 7 years ago. He goes, here's my hiring process. I tell the people that, the interview's at 9 o'clock. I open the door at 8:55. If they're there, they're hired. That's it. They show up because people don't show up. So then the guy, I tell a story in another event, and a different guy who hears me tell that story says, oh my God, Larry, I had 12 interviews this week. 6 were no-shows, 4 were late. So if you actually show up when you say you're going to show up, they'll keep you. That's how it works. All that guy had to do instead of getting, how dare you ask this question of me and you have to love me. No, it's a transaction. That's all this is. The guy doesn't love you. Chuck E. Cheese doesn't love you. You don't love them. I get it. So go, boss, no, I'll be in on Monday. Done. Boss goes, God damn it. Okay. That's what happens. Because you show up and you dance and whatever. So he's going to shut up and take it. That's all you had to do. You lost your job because you're righteous. You lost your job because you're clutching your pearls. Could just kept your job and said, no, I'll be in on Monday. He'd have been like, okay. And you just showed up on Monday and kept your job. But you taught him a lesson. You changed everything. Fight the power. That's you. You taught him all. Boy, you changed everything. What a warrior you are. Stupid. Tell your boss no. I remember when I used to sell cars. It's a true story. When I used to sell cars. I only did it for like a week. 2 weeks. I hated it. Not because I hated selling cars. It was the easiest job I ever had. I'm not even joking. Selling cars was super easy. And this is 20 years ago, more. So you didn't go online, right? You went to a car dealership because you wanted a car, right? So Hondas. So you come into a Honda dealership, you want to buy a car. You're shooting fish in a barrel. Oh my God, of course I'm going to sell you a car. No problem. I had the people I work for. The people were terrible. They were just hated customers. It's horrible. Anyway, so I got into my manager very badly. And I mean terrible. I'm talking mother insults, racial slurs back and forth, and publicly in front of the other sales guys. In front of the sales guys. If any of you see me at an event, I'll tell you a detailed story. It was horrible. So I'm scolding. Like I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to be fighting some people. I thought literally I was going to be throwing hands. That's how bad I thought it was going to be because it was horrible. I was scolding people, insulting mothers, racial slurs back to me, back and forth. And after all that, the manager goes, Larry, stop. Come on. We can fix this. Come on back. Wanted me back. Why? Because I could sell cars. Because I would show up and sell cars. He wanted me back. Look, if I insult your mother and I racial slur you, you probably should fire me. I'm just saying, you probably should. Like, I deserve to be fired if I insult your mother and I use racial slurs on you. And I probably shouldn't want to come back if you in turn insult my mother and use racial slurs upon me. Probably we shouldn't be working together. And he was like, no. Because you show up and you sell cars. He didn't care. That's apathy. That's what I'm talking about. So that guy lost his job for nothing.
This has happened to so many different people. There are many.
By the way, I still walked, but that's the point.
TikToks talking about it, screenshots all over the internet for bosses or management just not caring that your mom or dad passed away, not even just extended family that you never really knew. They still want you to clock in for your dead-end 9-to-5 retail job or something along the lines of.
Hold on. Hirsch says, unless you worked at the Gap. That's true. Joel says, 4-year gap, I was in Yale. That's not a gap. It's an unexplained gap. So education would fill that gap, just so you're sure, right? Ganjin says, I was talking to Kim, not to me. Sorry, let me keep going here. All righty. Grab some more of this if I can. Joel says, McDonald's has many kinds of jobs to many areas, IT, finance, and maintenance. Yes, but this one was specifically for a job there. Part-time job in front of people. This job was for that. So, yes. Kim says, ever heard of overqualified? Yes. Exactly correct. Yes, absolutely. Shelly goes on to say, so I took jobs when my children and babysitter could go free. Water ski, ski slopes, roller rinks. Oh, that's a sweet thing to do. I like that. Kurt says, Phil, in Jewish culture, the fetus is not viable until he or she graduates medical school. Nice. That's good. Yes, that is good. I like that. So, all right. Shane says, I think 3 to 5 is mostly tech related. Okay, it's a good point. Generally speaking, if you're looking at what I would call more legacy or more traditional businesses, it's maybe more like 5 to 10. But the more marketing, I would say, if it would include that, tech communications would include that, even sales would include 3 to 5. So not just tech, but I do think you're right. The more traditional or more conservative it is, I think that number does change a bit. I would agree. It does change a bit. Yeah, it does change some. Absolutely. So, all righty. Let's see here. Nate says, not for nothing, lie, but most employers will hire anyone with a pulse. It's hard finding workers, especially upstate. That's my point. You're totally correct. That's why that guy who said, I open the door, if he shows up, he's hired. Yes. What they're looking for, and Nate, it's because Nate's a workaholic, right? So if you have a work ethic, people want to hire you. And many of the youngins don't have that. In fact, they're trying to be righteous more than they are anything else. So yes, that liberal lady says abolish DOE. Yeah. I'm not talking about abolishing education. I'm talking about abolishing government involvement with education. Yes, and yes. 100%. Absolutely true. Yes. Christine, pop the cork. I've been saying Department of Ed needs to go for 30 years. Yep. Not surprised. Yes. Shin says, Larry, every president we've had was born prior to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Your point? My point is they weren't educated by the Civil Rights Act. Were you educated by the Civil Rights Act? I wasn't. Nobody was. They were educated by the Department of Education, which didn't exist. So somehow they got education. Not just that, we went to the moon before the Department of Education. Yeah, we built the Twin Towers before the Department of Education. We built the Empire State Building before the Twin Towers. We won World War II before the Department of Education. We built the internet, the beginnings of it, before the Department of Education. So it doesn't do anything, is my point. That's my point. So that seems obvious. I'm surprised that you would ask a question like that. It's obvious. He's not educated by the Civil Rights Act. Yeah. It's not an issue. So yes. Law says, preach, Larry, preach. Yes, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Yes. Mike says, yes, Hartford High School. Oh, that's the name of it. Thank you. I knew it was in Connecticut. Mike knows, of course. Yes. Hartford High School, so sad, and how many others affected that don't have money/time to sue. Glad Department of Education going away. Dems want it only for indoctrination and union donations. Accurate. Yes. Shin says, no, and you think that girl situation and literacy in general would improve without the Department of Education? 100% yes. Absolutely yes. And how to know that? I did a show on this. You must have missed it. Literacy rates have gone down since the Department of Education has taken over. Yes. Literally yes. The data is in. Department of Education does not matter at all. And would literacy go up? Yes, it would. How do I know that? Because if you look at places where they don't have one, I mean, they don't pay attention to it, like private schools and stuff like that do very little with Department of Education, take very little money, if not any. Some take none. They have the highest literacy rates. Yes. The wealthy, they don't care about the DOE. They send their kids to private schools who ignore the DOE because they don't need the money. Right? I mean, Shin, I'm just being, it's so obvious. Yes. You hear me talk about the wealthy all the time. I see them every day here in New York City. I work with them. Yes. They send their kids to private schools. If private schools ignore DOE, the DOE is not going to arrest people, right? But how it controls you is through not giving you money. Well, if you're wealthy, you send your kid to a private school. The private schools in New York, the average is something like $7 or $8 grand a year. Something that's the average. But for the high-end schools, they're 20, 30, 40 grand a year. If you're dropping 40 grand a year for your kid, and that's not college, that's like middle school. You don't care that the money coming from the Department of Education. In fact, to be false to me, you may not know this. They don't have the same hiring criteria. You go to a private school, many of them don't have teaching degrees. I'm not joking. They don't have teaching degrees. You don't have to. You're not taking any state or federal money. You can hire who you want. Your curriculum has to be, you know, whatever state, whatever, but you can hire whoever you want. They hire people with no degrees if they want to, and they do. They hire people who do things, who've been someplace, and they hire that person as teacher. No teaching degree. I know that they've taught math. There are schools that will hire a math teacher who is on the spectrum. You know what I'm talking about. No college degree. Yep. Happens all the time. So clearly, yes. Obviously, yes. 100% yes. Not even close. Yes. That's all I'm saying. I hope that was clear on that one. Roy says, many work just hard enough to not get fired, get paid just enough, they don't quit. Yeah, also true. Yep. Yeah. I think it goes both ways is my point. I think it goes both ways. So, yes. Matt says, Larry, you could own dealerships. You know what? Yeah. But if you've been in that world, it's a harsh world. And I'll give you one of the examples, just Matt. And if any of you sold cars, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right. Young person comes into the dealership, 22, 23, 21, maybe college student, whatever, wants to buy a car. Young kid, guy, young man. This is like late 90s, just so you know the time frame I'm talking about. Late 90s, early 2000s. That's when it was. Early 2000s, late 90s is when I was doing it, right? So he comes in, and I'm like, okay, young guy in college. I'm going to put him in a Honda Civic. That was the car of the day. I'm going to put him in a coupe, so he's got 2 doors, throw a spoiler on the back. He'll be looking cool, got a cool car for the ladies, his boys, he's cool, he's good, right? That's a very inexpensive car, right? Not just that, the spoiler at the time would cost us like $100, right? And then labor, which was us because we paid for the labor, right? It was us for labor, right? So maybe not $100. So I doubled it, markup. So I charged him $400 for the spoiler. $400 for the spoiler, cheap car, good. He'd be happy, gets the car. My manager fuming at me, Matt, mad at me. Why'd you give him that car? What were you thinking? You should have given him, we got 3 Odysseys in a lot, which, by the way, I don't know if they still exist, but Odyssey was the minivan of the day, right? That's what it was in the Honda. I still remember the cars because I used to sell them, right? It was Odyssey. And I said, he's 21 years old. I'm going to give him a minivan. He's a single dude going to college. I'm not going to give him a minivan. Doesn't need that. Yelling at me because he wants to get rid of minivans. I don't care. I'm trying to make my customer happy, right? Then he's mad because I didn't charge $700 for the spoiler. I said, spoiler costs $100 plus labor, which isn't labor. So I doubled after the BS labor. I still doubled it. So you still make $200. I mean, more than that and I got it carved a lot. And we bought a stupid spoiler, which isn't anything. The spoiler's probably worth $5, right? So we still got $400 for the spoiler. Mad at me, yelling at me, calling me names. Next time I want you to sell that goddamn Odyssey, blah, blah, blah. At one point, I told him where he could stick that Odyssey. And yeah, and that was everywhere. So the lack of respect for the customer, the just when to push stuff was a thing I didn't want to do. I couldn't do it myself. Me and my stupid morals. They get in the way. They do get in the way, is all I'm saying. Yes. So, yeah. Matt worked there. Okay. Yeah. He says, I found selling cars to be so hard. People indeed actually are just looking. I had a terrible conversion rate. Oh, no, I was killing it. Like my first weekend, I sold like out of 5 cars, whatever. I was crazy. I was closing left to right. Yeah. That was very easiest I've ever had. Matt goes, I'm most not very aggressive with it because shit, I'm broke too. So I know how when someone just want to look. I know, but those people, I would be nice to them. They had lookers. I'd be very nice and polite, give them the stuff and leave them alone. Like, I'm not going to stay with them, right? There were people wanting to look. They'd come in. They'd say, that's okay. So I'd give them some buying pushes to see if they actually were looking or not. Some people will say they're looking when they're not, just to try to get you off. So you know how to deal with that issue. If you're a good sales rep, you know how to find out whether they're there or not, right? And if they're really just looking, give them a couple of brochures. They have brochures then. Now it's probably on the phone, I guess. But back then they had brochures. Give them a brochure, put them in a car. Thanks. If you change your mind, let me know and go get somebody else. So that's what I used to do back then. But no, it was, so you know what I'm talking about then, Matt. You've been there. You know how that works. So yes. Roy says, capitalism doesn't care what you think. Correct. It's not evil, as they say. It's just apathetic. Yes, it's just apathetic. Correct. Yes. All right, let me grab some more of these. I'm sorry.
Maybe think twice when you're using AI in your hiring protocols. Take a look at these emails I received. Good morning. I hope this email finds you well. You recently received a declination letter regarding a job position. However, in taking a second look at your application, I'd like to schedule a brief phone screen. Nice. Okay, so clearly what's happened here, my resume got pushed away by some use of artificial intelligence, and they were very impressed with my highly qualified stats. Just kidding. 30 minutes later, they canceled. 30 minutes later, they sent me an email saying they already hired somebody.
And the next screenshot goes perfectly with that clip. We are reopening the position. We haven't found a right fit for the role yet. This is an automated message generated for everyone. Since you're interviewed, this does not apply to you. There were people who we did not talk to, and now we're going to take a look at the second wave of applicants. But they couldn't even take the time out of their day to delete all of the emails from the people they are.
Because this is the problem, and this is why he doesn't matter. You know this. There are people who will literally send out 200 resumes in a week, 300 in a week, 500 in a week. They don't care about the job. They just want a job. They don't care. So you flood these people with stuff to a job that you know you don't care about, that you're just going to take the cash and run. You're probably going to quit as soon as something better comes around. You know this already. And you're mad at them? I'm not saying they're right, but stop acting like the worker is somehow righteous. We're all just people. All of us. The person hiring, the person who owns it, the person getting a job, the person looking for work. We're all just people. You're not awesome because you're a worker, or awesome because you're an owner, or awesome because you're a manager. You're just a human being. That's all you are. So if the worker wants to send out 500 resumes, knowing that he doesn't care at all, just wants a job, doesn't care at all, knowing they're going to treat the job like garbage so they find the right one, they're going to waste the time of the employer. That's fine. But when the employee defends himself, that's evil. No, this is dog eat dog. That's who it is. Just accept it as true. It's not being so mad.
Looked at. So I don't know why any of these companies would be surprised when people are using scripts and AI themselves to just apply for every single job on a site. Just nonstop putting out resumes in every job application under the sun. Even people who...
Yeah, he admits it. Yes. Nate says it. Yeah, this is Nate. Nate, perfect. This is what I just said. Nate's, yes. He says it doesn't happen often, but I don't ask for time off. If I need time off, I'm telling you and taking it. Yes, because I know Nate. Nate shows up and works, and people need people who show up and work. And when that person goes, I can't be here for these 2 days, the boss goes, oh, come on, man, or something like that, tries to push Nate into doing it probably. And Nate goes, appreciate the push, but no. And the boss goes, damn it. Okay, see you Monday. That's how that works. That's how that works. If that guy at Chuck E. Cheese really did show up and dance with the kids and whatever, all they did was go, I'm not coming until Monday. And the boss was like, and when I said, okay, that's how it actually works. That's the reality. Matt says it's a different breed and ecosystem in dealerships. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So true. 100%. It's not a place that I wanted to work, and I would never want to work there. So yes. Shin says, my point is you seem to be suggesting that simply because we didn't have something for a long time means is it necessary or helpful? No, I'm showing you that it isn't necessary. That's number one. I've proven to you that it's not necessary. And then I've shown you that it's literally not helpful. Right? So yes, I didn't say simply because we haven't had it. I'm saying we went to the moon, we won World War II, we built the Empire State Building and the Twin Towers. All of our presidents, every one of them. So it's not necessary. Clearly, it's not necessary. That's obvious. Now, is it helpful? No. If it was helpful, the wealthy would use it. That's just obvious. If it was helpful, the wealthy would use it. They don't. It's not helpful. And we have people who can't read. And our literacy rate has gone down since it came in. Literacy rate has gone down. It's clearly not helpful. I even go as far as to say it's harmful. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Nate coming in, Zac Rios. Just because I don't want government to do something doesn't mean I don't want the thing to be done. Government's force. I want things voluntarily. This reduces waste and fraud immensely. Yes, yes, and yes. 100% true. Yes, absolutely. 100%. And of course, Shin goes too. And if someone should discriminate against the poor minorities in education, should people be left to suffer? Okay, Shin, that's happening now. Let me say it again. That your fear, if we don't have it, the bad thing will happen. The bad thing's happening now. Now, New York City is the most segregated school system in the entire country. We have the most government regulation and spend the most money. The discrimination you're talking about is happening now. In Rochester, New York, we have some of the worst school districts in the entire country. In parts of Rochester, if you are a Black male, the odds of you graduating high school are less than 20%. This horrible, dystopian future you talk of is today with the current system with the DOE. You're not living in reality. It's happening now. So what's the worst can happen? The same, I guess. So I would go with a minimal. It's not necessary. I would say it's obviously harmful, but maybe you disagree with that. Liberty Lady coming in strong, showing the DOE. If you guys care, that's the episode where I talked about it specifically. Yes, it is not great. It is actively bad. Yes. All righty.
Aren't in the field or super underqualified, doesn't matter. It's basically just a scatter shot now, because that's what the employers are doing, using AI and just mass sending out emails. Here's one that's pretty good, especially if you're talking about making YouTube videos, a good video and photo editor. Monthly salary is $100. Wow, a whole $100. Ideally, can also animate 2D and 3D. Also, ideally used to make advertisements, so they could take whatever you made in Photoshop or animated and then profit off of it, using it in commercials. Of course, work efficiently and diligently, 8-hour work time per day. This is a long-term work. Could guarantee you a job for life if you deliver. Wow, you mean I can make $100 a month forever until I'm dead? Especially
now, here's the point. $100 an hour. Let's be clear. I mean, $100 a month. Who would take that work? Who would take that work? Who would? Nobody who needs it would take that work. So he's acting like, oh my God, what happens if you're a father of 7 and you're 50 years old and you need to make $200,000 a year? How are you going to survive on $100? Like, you would never take that job. It's the non-sequitur. Doesn't make any sense. Why would he bring this up? This is clear for someone who's like 18 and doesn't know if they want to go to college or not. They're living at home with their mom. That's who this is for. Giving them something to do. Here's how it works. And this is what you don't understand. People just don't get. He doesn't get this. Let's assume I'm 18. I don't know what to do with my life. I like YouTube. I think online stuff is cool. I can't stand school, but I can learn stuff with my hands pretty fast. I'm pretty good with computers. I take this job. I get $100 a month. I knock it out of the park. I'm making photos for this guy and blah, blah. So one of 3 things now happens. 1, I make this guy tons of money, in which case now he doesn't leave. He doesn't want me to leave. What is he going to do? He's going to pay me more, right? Or he won't. He's got a bad business model, doesn't like me, and he quits and goes, Larry, I'm not paying anymore. Sorry. In which case I can decide I'm going to stay because I'm learning something, or I can go, I'm out. I've learned how to do cool stuff. I can go get a better job someplace now. Can't I? Do it for myself now. Can't I? Why is this terrible? The guy is saying you have an opportunity, probably because the guy's thinking he may be wrong. Look, the company may be some dude who's an idiot. Who knows? But he's obviously thinking, well, if I make a lot of money with this thing, I'll share it with this other guy. That's what he's thinking. Now, will he do it? I don't know. But you're going to learn and be good at that thing, or you're going to suck at it and be terrible. The other option, you're bad at it. You can't do it well. You're terrible. And he says, you're not worth even $100. Go away. Or you go, I don't even like doing this. I'm glad I got paid $100 to figure out I hate doing this because I'm 18. And now I figured out I hate doing this stuff. I thought I liked computers. I don't. This is not a bad thing. If you don't like it, don't take it. Don't take it. That's all I'm saying. Garrett coming in strong with memberships. Thank you, guys. Guys, if you want memberships, grab them. Remember our rule. If you made $10 million this week, you may not take one of Garrett's. If you did not make $10 million, $9 million is fine. You may take one of Garrett's memberships. Please grab that if you would. It's amazing, Garrett. I thank you. Always coming in strong. I do appreciate that tremendously. It's a lot of help, makes things a whole lot better. I appreciate everything you're doing, man. I really do. I hope I'm giving you guys value. I hope you're seeing what's actually happening here, what's happening in the actual world, how things are working, and why they actually matter, right? And that's the piece, why they actually matter. One of the reasons why these guys are using AI to do this is so they can gather data and sell it. This is their response. And you're going to say, this sounds crazy. It's the response. He's right. As I said, he says, sending out, tons of resumes. Yeah, people send out 200-300 resumes, 400 resumes, 500 resumes. Well, what are companies going to do? They're just wasting time and energy. So what do they do instead? They use AI to capture all the data. Once they've captured all the data, they sell the data. Yes. They sell your data. You gave it to them. They sell it. That's what they do. So you're going to waste their time? They're going to make money off it. Of course they are. So as I say always, don't do that. That is a bad idea. People don't listen to me. And they say, I got to get a job, Larry, so I'm going to be desperate. Yeah, being desperate is how you don't get a job. Let me repeat that for those of you. Being desperate is how you don't get a job. Because when you go on when you're on an interview, you look desperate. Michael, but Larry, I need a job. And here's the hardest part, and Roy said it. Roy said it. Capitalism doesn't care. Doesn't. It's not mean. It's not evil. It's apathetic. It doesn't care if you need a job. It cares if you want this job. That's what it cares. Do you want this job? I'll take any job. I don't need you then. I will find someone who wants this job. So your job, if you're going to say, wait a minute, Larry, but these guys are scamming me, then scam them back and pretend like you want this job. That's how the game is played. And that sounds cruel. So I feel bad. I sound cruel saying these things. But I want you to understand it, particularly if you know someone in your life who's looking for work, if they're younger, it really does matter. It really does matter. So, all right. Let me see if I can grab some of these over on Rumble here. Wow, a lot of people popping up here. I do appreciate that. Hold on. My VA lady says, this segment ties in well with the January 1st episode I did on New Year's. That's correct. Yes, you're going to see that January 1st episode. That also talks about how to get a job, how to change. Yes, there's another good episode. If you have a moment, please check that one out if you're looking, if you're in that world. I think some good free info. Please enjoy it if you can. It's something good to do. So yes, it was about growth for 2025 is what it was about. So yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I do appreciate that. All right.
With today's world, with content creation being at an all-time high, this is not nearly enough to pay an editor for anything like this.
Yes, not enough to pay a skilled editor who would never take that job. This is why what he's saying is insanely naive. Why would a skilled editor take that job? They wouldn't. Therefore, the only person to take that job is someone who isn't skilled, who just wants a reason to do some experience, right? A lot of people who will do this work, they don't want to create a Sharpe Way show. They don't want to create a channel like he has. They just want to have something to create for. So I'll give you that $100 a month, create this. You'll get good at it or you won't. We're both gambling. That's it.
Another classic one, assistant manufacturing marketing manager, must have 20 plus years of experience, and you get a whopping $18 to $22 an hour. Ooh,
Now, what that means is one of two things. One, there are a bazillion of them, and there might be. I don't know that, right? But everyone I know tells me they're a marketer. So there probably are a billion of them out there. I would assume there's probably are a billion of them out there. Probably are. So there's probably 35,000 of them out there. You can grab anyone. But reality is that's probably not a real job. Right? It's saying remote work available. It's not a real job. That's just fishing. That job is fishing. That's just fishing. That's all that is. By the way, I'm going to be fishing too. For you to click the like button. And also for you to share this. Repost this, share this someplace else. Right? Please do that. I appreciate all of those who've been super chatting and ranting. Please do that if you can. It does help tremendously. For those who want to super chat and rant, it does help. But no matter what, please click the button known as like. That's how Mr. Rhythm, Al Gore Rhythm, that's how that guy moves things forward. He cares about the like button. Click it. If you can share it, please share it. If you haven't followed me on Facebook, X, and Rumble, that means you hate me. Why would you hate me? I'm good looking. You can't hate good looking people. It's impossible. So don't do that. Instead, follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. And of course, if you want to subscribe on YouTube, do so and click all notifications so you get notified when that thing happens. It doesn't matter. Number one, if you can, though, of course, membership. You just saw Garrett coming in hot, gave out 10 of them. Grab one of the memberships. Do that. It does matter. Please do so. Every little bit counts. People like when that happens too. So yes.
You might be able to make $45,000 a year if you've been doing this for more than 20 years of your life. Another comment from one of you guys, I remember seeing multiple job postings requiring 5, sometimes 10 years of experience and a master's degree for $15 an hour. Incredibly insulting. Meanwhile, at Target starts at $18 an hour and you don't even need a GED. That's the kind of stuff.
$18 an hour, you don't need a GED. So why do you take the other job? I'll tell you why. People want the cool job too. And I get it. We all want cool jobs. I get it. The question is, does that matter? A lot of people want the cool job. If a lot of people want the cool job, then they can pay you less because lots of people want the cool job.
I always thought when you are these types of companies putting jobs up on Indeed or something like that, a lot of corporate 9-to-5s, if you're paying less than literally going to Walmart or Target, I know retail definitely is not a walk in the park. It could be a nightmare. But how do you expect anybody to actually put 100% effort in when you're barely paying them anything? But speaking of retail jobs.
But that's a point though, right? If you can't afford that, then you have to find some place to work, or the value you're putting in isn't that valuable.
With high turnover rates, here's a no-quit program apparently from Walmart.
A Walmart store announced a no-quit program for those looking to resign. Look at this sign with me. We value you, your growth, and your contributions. And then they boldly declare, we have a no-quit program. We feel that many situations can be resolved. We ask that any associate prior to deciding to quit speak with their store manager. Walmart has one of the highest turnover rates in the country.
So to be clear, Walmart says, hey, please don't just walk out, talk to your manager. And you're mad at Walmart. That's what he just said. Walmart saying, please don't just quit, go talk to your manager. And he's like, you suck. I don't get that. What are you talking about? Yeah. So Straight Ann over on Rumble says, bored retired guys that can't make too much money per month might also take a $100 a month job for something to do. Also correct. Yes. What if you're a retiree? What if you're disabled? And you're like, hey, yeah, I'll take some job. Fine. I'll do a job for $100 a month. I'm getting busy learning a new skill. Maybe you were like maybe you got a 20-year pension from a government job, right? Maybe you're in the military 20 years. Maybe you did 20 years as like, I don't know, sheriff's department or something. Now you're 60. You got 2 pensions. Learn something new. I'm gonna learn how to do this computer stuff. Take $100 a month. Get paid to learn. Or this is the worst part. People are mad. This is right to Straight Ann's point. People are mad because a company will give you real world experience and education and pay you $100 or whatever, $250 or $100 a month. They will pay you $100 a month, and they'll be mad at that. But you won't be mad to go to college, spend 4 years, 50 grand or whatever it costs now, 100 grand, whatever it costs now to go to college. They teach you stuff that doesn't have any goddamn value, and you walk out, still can't get a job, and now you got debt. And you prefer that. You're mad at the guys who say, I'll teach you the real world stuff. I'm going to pay you $100 a month. No, I'm going to go to school and go to college instead. I'm going to go to college and drop 100 grand, be in debt, and get shit that's 10 years old. I'll do that instead and still need to go on the job training. That's way better. That's what we're talking about. And then Straight Ann goes, he continues on Rumble. If it's no fun, quit. Yes. So again, you're not an indentured servant. You agreed to the $100. I don't know why you would, but you have a reason. You're bored, you're retired, you're 18, whatever. You take the job, trying to start a new skill. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you're trying to figure out what's my next step? My kid's getting older. Should I do this? I don't know. I'll get paid $100 to see if I like this. All right, you do it. You see if you like it. Maybe you don't like your career now. Change your career. You get paid $100, see if you like the career. Fine. Once you're skilled and you have a resume and you've achieved something, you charge a whole lot more money because now you've done stuff. That's a common thing. And they're mad. They're just mad because they just want to hate business and business owners.
Estimated around 70%, and holds a D+ rating for retention according to over 10,000 employees on Comparably. It's gotten so bad that they are offering a retention bonus of up to $1,000 for hourly workers.
It could see a bonus of up to $1,000 per year, depending on how.
So Walmart is saying, please don't quit. Talk to your manager. We'll give you $1,000 bonus if you just keep working and don't quit. And they're mad.
How long they stay with Walmart.
Let's think about this for a sec. If
Let's
a
do that.
company feels the need to implement a program to prevent employees from quitting,
Yes.
maybe the employees aren't the problem.
Yes. And they're trying to do something about it.
Maybe the company is failing to meet their needs.
By giving them another $1,000 and trying to make their managers better.
Maybe.
So if you're starting to see stuff
Maybe,
like this from
you
Walmart,
knucklehead, you guy who just wants to be mad at stuff, you think you just want to act like you know stuff? You don't know anything. The ignorance here is insane. The ignorance is they're making everything worse because people are listening to them and going, yeah, that's right. It's stupid to give us extra money if we stay. Why would they do that? What? Why would they want us to talk to our managers? That's dumb. What? What?
in this job market, you have to know it's really rough to work there. I mean, 70% is pretty insane. Here's one that's just a laundry list of required experiences and skills for $8.50 an hour. You'll be
now that actually is sadly in the exotic animal world. That is sadly common. That is sadly common. And for those, a lot of people who work in that field, they're very specialized.
Responsible for the husbandry and care of a large variety of species, including lemurs, antelopes, camels, and more. I mean, maintenance and repair, mowing, weeding. Also be responsible for doing the tours as well as animal encounters, assist in answering phone calls and guests, making reservations. You need a bachelor's degree in biology or related, at least 3 to 6 months of exotic animal experience at a zoo setting, 45 hours per week, so past full time. On top of it, working weekends and holidays, and a flexible schedule, which means they want to be able to call you in even if you're off, able to work outside.
Because it's animals. If the animal's sick or hurting, doesn't matter if it's Saturday or Sunday. It's not wrong, right? Not wrong. But to be fair, who takes that job? Who takes that job? You have to really love animals for that. You don't take that job. You don't take it. You don't. And the reality is, I'll say it again, what people don't get is if you take that job and you show up and you take care of the animals and you actually do the tours, this is just how it works. And a lot of people don't want that job. You'll just say you want a raise and he'll say yes. That's how it works. Every time. They'll go, no, I don't care. No, for you, leave. That's not what happens if no one else wants that. If no one else wants that job. Now, if there's people lining up for that job because there's so many people who love exotic animals, which might be the issue, then he goes, leave. I got 10 people waiting for me. It's just the market forces. It's that simple.
All weather conditions and able to lift minimum 50 pounds and run a 10-minute mile? Does that mean if you show up for the application, they're just going to do a time mile like we're in gym class real quick?
People have done that. And they do that, again, because if you have an injury and you couldn't do that, they get themselves in trouble.
Again, all of this for $8.50 an hour, even with the 45 hours a week. So past full-time, you're talking $20,000, maybe even $25,000 a year. How do you even have the ball?
DSG Label says this whole show has made me long for the great resignation. These employers have forgotten we need a nationwide strike in this country. I actually, that'd be a wonderful idea. I'm not even joking. I would love for the workers to stop being mad at a system that they do nothing about, at unions that have failed us in every way possible, at a system that doesn't in any way encourage workers owning their own labor. I agree with you completely. And I'm not even joking. I'm not against people owning their own labor. I'm not against unions. I'm against the current system that sucks, that encourages this. And I'm teaching you how it actually works. But would I love a nation? Yes. Strike. Yes. Because you know what would happen? the people who are truly valuable, they would beg to come back. That's what would actually happen. That's what would actually happen. If there was a nationwide strike tomorrow, we all said, we're not coming to work. None of us are. That'd be amazing. I'm not even joking. It'd be horrible short term. But then you know who they call back? The people who actually do stuff. And a whole lot of people who are really good will get rewarded because they call them all up. And a bunch of people who aren't good would have to do two things. One, hopefully put their pride in their pocket, like I've been talking about since the beginning, and realize, damn, I'm not as valuable as I thought I was. You're not. So what do you need to do? Organize. Organize. Yes. And either get some ownership or unionize without the stupid unions we have now. I'm in the ESG label. I'm in. Yes, yes, and yes. That'd be a great thing for our country. Short term, it'd be a disaster. Long term, it'd be amazing. Yes, of course it would. Of course it would. So yeah. Grace says, I hated everything at 18, including college, which I attended and completed to make my dad happy. Yes. Family pushes you a lot into it. They do. And I adored him and it made him happy, but I should have learned to code after I graduated. Yeah, I think that's often true. Yes.
To put this on any website at all. In the same vein of actually putting something out to the public, thinking that it's worth anybody's time, Housekeeper Wanted employed 27 hours a week, community of 5 households. So you go into 5 families just for one maid. Tasks include cleaning, laundry, and ironing. We're looking for a new employee. Gross monthly wage for 27 hours a week is 1,100 euros. But going through to 5 households and the 27 hours a week seems pretty odd. I would venture to guess if you have to clean and do the laundry and ironing for all 5 of these houses, it's probably going to be much more than 27 hours, but you bet you're still only going to get paid $1,100. Here we have another one for the qualifications, what they're looking for. Someone that's working to learn versus working to earn. Oh, as soon as they start running.
See, this is the thing that people don't like at all. They think, and it's a broken system. They think that on-the-job training is not valuable because some company is making money. So therefore, it's by default evil. But if you go to a college, which these fat cats are still making tons of money, and all of them have endowments in the millions of dollars, if not billions, but in the millions of dollars, and they charge you tens of thousands of dollars per year to learn garbage that's not even real, that's fine. Those fat cats are fine fat cats. Those fat cats are fine. The fat cats that work in the establishment, they're the good fat cats. They're the good ones. But the fat cats that work in corporations are probably small companies. Only small companies do this because they're struggling too. They're the evil ones in this guy's eye. Like, oh, how could they do this? But go to college and drop 60 grand to learn garbage for 4 years. So those fat cats, those are fine. These aren't. Am I the only one who thinks this is broken?
Or saying can afford to live on a minimum wage, the same type of stuff where a family be able to work long hours, way past when you're supposed to, all of that kind of crap is.
But it's okay if you've got to do an overnight in college though, right? That's fine. It's okay if you got to work through a weekend and do college work. That's fine. Or if you're going to be a teacher's assistant and do the job of teacher for them, that's fine. That's okay. And you're going to pay for that. They're not going to pay you. You're going to pay them for that. That's fine. But don't work extra hours to learn stuff that might actually make you money. That's bad.
This is a huge red flag. Understands the sacrifice of working at a startup, but things were not.
It's a startup. He's punishing a startup. And you go down the border, it says familiar with cannabis. It's a cannabis startup. All right. If you're savvy at all, you go to a cannabis startup, the first thing you do is you make a deal to get some ownership after you get vested. What does that mean? 6 months or whatever is the time. You make a deal, you make a contract. I'll work for you cheap for X number of months, whatever that time frame is. And after that time, I want X% of this company. That's all you do. You get ownership. You're now a worker who now owns part of the company. It's literally that simple. It's that simple. That's what you do. You go to this guy and he'll say yes. Why? He needs workers. He's a startup. He'll say yes. So say, hey, whatever. Talk back and forth. If I say for 3 months, I want whatever, 0.5%. I don't know what the numbers would be. You make the numbers up. You figure it out, whatever that is. Or for 6 months, I now want 2%. I want, I work for a year, I want 5%, or whatever's the numbers required, right? Who knows? It depends on whether he has an investor or not. If he doesn't have an investor, if he has no investors, you can ask for more. If he has investors, you got to ask for less because he's getting less of a cut, right? Depends on what he's got going on in his business. If he's got a lot of investors, you ain't getting much. If he has hardly any, you can get a whole bunch. In theory, you can get a third of the company. It's a startup. You work there, you bust your ass for 3 years, maybe 4. Some big company buys it out. You put 6 or 7 figures in your pocket. And this guy's like, oh, what a bunch of idiots. Now you might go, well, I wouldn't do that. Then don't take this job. There are lots of people who would love to gamble, who would work in the cannabis field, gamble in a startup, get 10% of the company that gets bought out in 5 years, and you put $1 million in your pocket. That happens all the time. That's not an uncommon thing if you prefer to do this. That's what he's asking for. It's called, by the way, there's a name for it. It's called sweat equity. That's what it's called. You put in sweat equity. You get equity in a company by working hard instead of putting in a bunch of money in. It's not crazy at all. He's just ignorant.
Looking for values money over knowledge. Well, if you really didn't care about the money, I feel like somebody would just start their own startup. Why would you work for somebody else's? Compensation $10.50 an hour. Of course. Here we got another comment from you guys. I'm a nurse and looking through job postings a few months ago was a private doctor's office hiring nurses. No benefits. Best part was the part that said, we'll work in a building that will protect from weather but not necessarily temperature changes, which to me in Louisiana in August, oh man, that just means our conditioning is broken and we won't fix it. So you're going to have to sweat in 113 degrees at 67% humidity. No, thank you. If you're
well, yes, she said no, thank you. You don't have to be mad.
in a doctor's office looking for nurses and you can't afford to fix the air conditioner, especially in the South like that, I don't even know what to tell you. What are you doing?
If anyone's looking for an update on the current state of the job market,
I am.
Do I have a social interaction to share with all of you?
Tell me.
So today I got a phone call from a recruiter who I had previously worked with. And I had been working with him for a while for a role at this company. And I didn't get it, but that's completely okay. And today he reached out and
is it really okay though?
He said, hey man, I have this other role at that same company that I think you would be perfect for. And I said, cool, tell me a little bit about it. And he starts describing the role. And it is the exact same role as the one that I had previously interviewed for. He is describing it the exact same way. So I then asked,
changed the name.
hey man, how much is the salary? What's the salary band that we're working with? And he described to me that the salary band was very competitive. And perfect for this level of expertise, but it was $20K less than the role that I had previously.
He said, for this expertise. Why is he upset? Because he's insulted. That's why he's upset. He's insulted. That's your expertise, bro. That your recruiter who's been working with you for a while. So he knows how incompetent you are. He knows how broken you are. He knows how you suck at interviews why you can't get a job. He knows that. So the company says, let's put this thing out. And the people who showed up are all knuckleheads compared to what they wanted. Well, if knuckleheads could do it, we're not going to pay them all this money because they're knuckleheads compared to what we wanted. So we're going to change it. Makes total sense. You could just not take the job.
Interviewed for. And they
but he's insulted.
Were the exact same role. This company was trying to hire the exact same role, exact same person for $20K less.
So let me ask a question in return. What if he had gotten the first job and they loved him? If he said yes to him and they were like, this guy's great, we love him. And he said, look, I love this company and I love you and I'm glad you love me. I've been looking around and it looks like the market is telling me, and this is how you would say it, right? The market's telling me that the salary you're offering here is not the right salary. The market is telling me, when you use the phrase the market, it means you're looking someplace else, right? That's how you politely say, I'm looking at other jobs. You say the market's telling me that, and I'm giving you some words to use if you're looking for a job. That's how you say that without going, I'm looking someplace else. The market's telling me that, it's probably another 10, 20K is where this should be. They go, wait a minute, you know, 10, 20K. That's what he'll be doing. Would he be a bad guy? Would he be mean and nasty and terrible? No, he'd be smart. He'd be smart. He'd be trying to up his salary by 10 or 20K. He'd be smart. Of course. I would do it too. I would hope you would. He'd be smart. Now, he's talking about 10 or 20K less. So that means his job is probably a 6-figure job or in that area, probably. So he's accustomed to that kind of salary. So he's been coasting, but he's not that good at what he's doing. It's probably why I got laid off. Why I can't get a job now. He's really bad at communicating, right? People who are often good at doing things are often bad at communicating. He's bad at communicating, obviously, right? So he can't communicate that well. So he's got a crappy recruiter who's just worried about making dollars. No one wants to work with him because he does probably doesn't interview well. I know it sounds cruel. I'm just being honest. It's probably what's happening, right? Because recruiters need to make money too. Recruiters are all commission-based, right? So if they don't close, they don't get paid. So they only want to work with people who can actually can close a deal, right? That's what they want to work with. So he's having a problem now. Yeah. What if it was reversed? What if he was saying, I'm getting $20,000 more? Would we be calling him mean? No, we'd be calling him smart. So why wouldn't a company do it?
Especially working with a recruiter who's just going to go back to the same people who didn't get a job and give them even more leads. Like, you didn't expect somebody to realize that it's the exact same job and you're just cutting off $20,000 a year. And this is borderline commonplace if you start really looking into job applications online today. Some of the comments from this video, it's crazy how many roles.
Hold on. Roy says, exactly. We were segregated the entire history of America until one generation before the Department of Education was promoted to cabinet position. It was created 100 years ago. Yes, it was created. You're right. But I tell people this often. It was actually created right after the Civil War, but it was basically a repository for information, which is why I like it to go back to what it was. So anyone educated before the modern DOE, like our recent elderly presidents, were educated during segregation. Yes, but it doesn't matter, does it? So was Barack Obama. It's still segregated. New York City still segregated. It hasn't changed. So the DOE didn't magically desegregate stuff. The DOE had nothing to do with desegregation. It's not a thing. It doesn't do that. It's not what it did. It still doesn't do that. So it's just like the civil rights thing. Why are you guys bringing race in here? It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. The DOE doesn't all of a sudden make things racially pure all of a sudden or racially whatever. It doesn't fix things. It's not what it does. It makes things worse is what it does. The DOE just makes things worse. I don't know why people are going to race in here. It doesn't mean anything. Oh, well, before we had gay marriage, so who cares? We didn't have gay marriage back then. So I've had a guess, probably half our presidents were probably educated when we had slavery. Doesn't make them any smarter or any more literate. Doesn't matter at all.
In tech are offering $25 an hour and requiring 2 to 3+ years of experience. Engineer husband just got offered a job that required 10 years of experience for what he made straight out of school in 2014. This is giving me the same vibes as 2008 to 2010 job search years.
Yes. And what that means is people aren't looking for that kind of work anymore. That's all it means. People aren't looking for that kind of work anymore. That's all it means. Yes. Larry defending Walmart? Defending Walmart? What are you talking about? Of course not. No. Absolutely. Well, Walmart's terrible. Yeah. I was beginning to worry for a minute. Like, no. You want to strike, brother. I'm in. DS goes on to say 67% of people aren't living paycheck to paycheck because they are not skilled. 8+ million men aren't on the sidelines because they're lazy. Don't believe the employer propaganda. No, I've said that. I talked about it before. The 8 million men are leaving for different reasons. It's not because they're lazy. Many of them are becoming lazy because they're having terrible habits that are making them lazy. I think that is happening over time because of their environment. But yes, they aren't by default lazy. I would agree with you. But they are going that way. Yes. They're living paycheck to paycheck because they're not skilled. There's many reasons why they're living paycheck to paycheck. Many reasons. Some of them is because they don't know how to communicate well, which I've talked about many times. Some of it's because they aren't skilled enough for what we want now. That's true. Some of them are not skilled, right, in the things that the companies need. So a big chunk of it is a skill issue. I've just been very forward with you, DS. You're wrong on that. A lot of them are not skilled in the things that we need. I told you, Forbes came out 3 degrees, except those specialized ones I mentioned: engineering, computers, nursing. That's what the country needs. The companies need. You don't have that unless you're specialized, right? Again, specialization is different. You're not skilled in what they need. And that may make you feel bad. That may make you feel uncomfortable. But if you don't recognize that, whoever I'm talking to here, not just necessarily you, I'm talking you generically, you're going to become one of those 8 million men by default. Or you're going to be paycheck to paycheck by default. There absolutely is a skill gap. Not all of them, obviously, but that is a chunk, 100%. Yes. Christine says, I once offered to work a job for free, so I learned everything. I was on the payroll in a week. Yes. All the time. Yes. Michael says, negotiating skills sadly lacking consistently. It is a big problem. I try to teach it, but people often don't listen. So yes, 100%. It is definitely an issue. Yes, absolutely. Phil says, colleges are well endowed, Larry Sharpe. Some of them are, man. Just saying. You know, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. You know, I'm not mad. Yes. Paula says, the DOE's existence correlates perfectly with young Black men leaving high school functionally illiterate. Also true. Also true. Yes. Yes. Paula goes on to say, a lot of men are living paycheck to paycheck because they're being sold college with skilled trades. True. And that's the skill gap I'm talking about. Right? I told a story with 2 days ago. A guy talking about this. He's like, I could hire I could hire 6 plumbers today. 6 plumbers today. Well, why don't you hire them? They don't exist. That's a skills gap, my friend. That's a skills gap. I know you don't like hearing that, but DSG label, yes, there is a skill deficiency in what people want. Doesn't mean the individual isn't skilled in other ways. Many people are very skilled in different ways. But if a company doesn't require that skill set, why would the company hire you? And that goes right back to the first part. Well, I've got these degrees. The company doesn't care. Well, I'm good at this. The company doesn't care. Right? That's the issue. Nico says, what's up, Larry? If I want to make a best of my degree in public policy and urban planning, what advice do you give for self-advocacy within the realm of public service? I don't know what that means. Are you saying, how do you get a good job? What advice you give for self-advocacy within the realm of public service? I don't know what that means. That sounds great. You obviously went to college to say some shit like that, but that doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? You want a job? You want to become, I don't know. What do you want to become like an activist? What are you saying? If it were me, here's what I'd tell you to do. Work for a city agency. City agencies have great unions. City agencies have city agencies have great unions. City agencies literally go out of their way to hire anybody. So I'm not saying you can't get hired, but I mean, the odds of getting turned down are slimmer as long as you follow the whatever rules are. They go out of their way to hire whoever they possibly can. So your odds of getting hired are higher than in a public sector. Your odds of getting fired are slim to none as long as you're just decent. They have good benefits. You will literally be in public policy. It's a city agency. You're in urban planning by default. So I think it would work. And cities, governments respect education. They all do. They generally have rules for giving you more money, the more education you have. So city agency is what I would think. If that's what you're looking for. I'm not sure if you said the right thing, but I think that's correct. So yeah. All right. In any case.
So that could go back to the CNN article where companies are acting like we're in a recession, but we're not officially in one because the government didn't say so. Here we could see a job application for a hiring assistant from Ridge Wallet, which is a full-time remote job. And you've probably seen on many other in-video sponsors from other YouTubers. It's just a pretty condensed wallet that we've seen for a number of years being sponsored across like every type of YouTuber. I've seen it a ton of times, but a full-time remote job for only $12,000 to maybe $14,000 a year. 40 hours a week, even if it is remote, doesn't really seem like the best deal, especially when you see that it's in Canada. And if you know anything about the Canadian market right now, I know the US is having a cost of living crisis.
But it's remote, so you don't have to be in Canada. That's the point. A remote job for $12,000 a year, depending upon where you are and what you're doing, may be a good job. I don't know if this is good at all. I have no idea. But why do you care if it's from Canada or not? If it's remote, it's entry level. So again, the kind of person who would do this, who would take this job, is someone who's like, "Hey, I'm changing jobs. I just got out of school. I used to be a stay-at-home parent. Now my kids are leaving. Maybe my spouse works and makes good money. I'm going to make some part-time work. I want to change something. That's what you would do this job for. Why are we assuming every job you get is got to be the full-time job that you can support a family on? That hasn't been true in this country for decades. Now, maybe we do what DSG says and we all strike and that changes. But until that happens, that's not what it is here. That's just not how it works. I'm looking over. Michael says this job's still available. He's ready to jump on board. He's ready to call him out right now. See, people would take this job. Absolutely. You just sit home and do it? Yes, absolutely. Shin says, Larry, this is everything to do with the lack of equality in our schools, deeply tied to racist due to our country's racist past. Okay, assume that's true. Let's assume that's true. It's deeply tied. Let's assume it is. I don't think that's true, but let's assume I'm wrong. You are correct, Shin. This is all because of lack of equality and racism. Okay, we've had a DOE now for 45 years. 2 generations. They haven't fixed it in 2 generations. Even if you're correct, it's all racism. Okay, 2 generations. Not 1 generation, 2 generations. They haven't fixed it. So if that's the problem, this is the wrong tool to fix that problem. So even if you're right, this is still the wrong answer. That's what I would tell you. Even if you're right, this is the wrong answer. So just because racism doesn't mean government's the answer. And to be forward, I did the entire show. When you have a moment, I think it was my 2019, 2021? It was you have a chance to look at my Juneteenth show. I think I did like four years, maybe 2021. I discussed exactly how the government made racism worse in every aspect from 1619 until today. I include education in that. I include housing in that. I include everything. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours, about an hour and a half. I express it all. If you care that much, I show you literally from 1619. I show with receipts. There are receipts in that show. I literally show the videos. I show government documents in that show, showing literally how the government made racism worse from 1619 to today, not better. So even if you're right, government has proven, and I prove with receipts in that video, about an hour and a half in that video, that government made every single thing worse when it comes to race in America. If you watch that show and tell me I'm wrong, please show me receipts. I'm happy to be wrong. But I put receipts in that one. That's why I talk about that all the time. Go to my Larry Sharpe and put Juneteenth. You will see that show. It will give you everything. So yes, even if you're correct, this is the wrong answer. Clearly the wrong answer. Again, I have receipts in that one. Demonstrably, it is the wrong answer. Government does not do that well. So yes. Liberty Lady has, there we go. It was 4 years ago. There we go. That's it right there. Click on that if you want to, if you care. Thank you, Liberty Lady. She's not playing games. Yes. So yes, if you can, yes, please do that. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. Mike says, Larry, if this guy's audience is smart, they should be applying to every business he is featuring and denouncing. He is calling the number of competing candidates. Every business he mentions is saving money on HR. Oh, interesting. I like that. Ryan, thank you for $2. Government makes everything, including racism, worse. Accurate statement. And again, during that, if you check that one out, I have receipts. Like I'm not just saying stuff. I show details on that. I even talk about the Wall Street that the government bombed, all that stuff. The redlining, the whole deal, all that stuff. And if you, and feel free to check that one out. Receipts are all there. We'll wrap this up.
Everything's very expensive, but when you start looking at the housing prices and the food prices, just to be able to...
It's remote. Dude, it's remote.
Survive in Canada, it is even worse. So $12,000 there goes even shorter compared to the US. So a full-time job and you are not going to be able to afford anything up there. Another amazing Facebook post for a babysitter. Need of a babysitter from noon to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. The hours vary depending on when my boyfriend gets home. Can pay $65 to $75, maybe more depending my pay each week, which probably means you're just getting $65. I have 3 kids, 6, 3, and 14 months. So So honestly, pretty young kids requires more work. Must be in my home and message me if you're interested.
That's not necessarily true. The 14-year-old may take a lot of the work off. If those of you who have multiple kids, you know that sometimes, depends upon the age of the kids, an older kid can actually make things easier. Depends upon the kid, how you've raised them.
Must be reliable and on time. And then the comments, that's 71 cents a child per hour. Good luck with that. Especially on Facebook, where a majority of the people you're friends with are at least somebody you know in real life. Somewhat, maybe it's coworkers or friends or family. So putting this out to the public when you could easily do the math on how little this will actually pay, I feel like would just be embarrassing for yourself.
People take it, is my
But
point.
here's another comment from you guys. I received one job offer requiring a full-time engineer with 10 years of experience. We've already seen that in this video. And they were offering minimum wage. I wrote them asking if there was a mistake on the posting, and they went all huff and pouty and asking me not to contact again if I was.
And the odds are this was phishing. So I think I've covered a lot of this. A lot of this stuff is phishing. They're just mad, and you shouldn't be mad. Understand how the system works and stop being mad. Fix it. That's the issue, right? Understand what's happening and fix it. Ryan says, I worked for the federal government for over 12 years of my life. There's nothing that it makes better, only worse. Maybe my own personal experience is wound up turning. Maybe, but it's actually true. Yes, maybe, but it's still true. I worked for the federal government for 7 years when I was a Marine. I saw it. I tried to work with them for the VA. Couldn't. It was impossible. Won't do it. Yes, it is terrible. Yes. Paula says, work begats work. I always get offered the best jobs when I have a job, especially when I'm with the public. Correct. Correct. This is one of the reasons, Paula, why people see gaps in your resume as a red flag for that. Most people, and this may sound terrible, but most people who are savvy, who've been around, who've been doing things a lot, they know when the writing is on the wall. And so they start thinking about their next steps already. They're already talking to recruiters while they're still working in the last one. People say all the time, the best time to find a job is when you have one. That's accurate. That's accurate. Yes, right? That really is accurate. So yes. Roy says, when all are included, education, commerce, public square, competition increases. It's true. When some are excluded for reasons other than merit, race, and religion, competition decreases. That's true. Was that for me? I don't know who that was for. I agreed. I think that's true. I think we should try to include everybody. Of course, right? And then you pick the ones that fit the best, right? It's not survival of the strongest, right? It's survival of the fittest. You have to fit the right thing that you need, right? So you have to fit it correctly. I agree with you. Just because you have the most of X doesn't mean I need the most of X. I might just need half of X and more of Y. And I don't care about your race or creed or sexual orientation, any of that stuff. I don't care. I care about, right? And the thing I'll give you always, if someone thinks that I'm just talking trash and it's not real, when I ran my largest campaign, which was 2018, literally the press came in and checked all of the campaign staff. Is this true? Again, you can do your homework. You're going to check it out. There's receipts for this too. And they checked all the campaigns. There were 5 campaigns running. Me, Stephanie Miner, Howie Hawkins, Cuomo, and Mark Marinaro. All 5 were running. And they checked all of our staff. I had the most diverse staff. I had the most diverse staff in 2018. That was my largest personal, campaign team I was running. I had dozens of people in my campaign team, dozens. I had the most diverse staff. And again, an outside reporter or group press said that. I didn't just say, that's them saying it to me. So yeah, I agree completely. And I practice what I preach. I got the right people, the best people I thought of, and I was the most diverse. Not because I had a quota system. People who know me, I hate quota systems. I never use quota systems ever, but I had the most. That's the issue. I had the most. So, any case, I hope that makes sense. And I am practicing what I'm preaching. I do try that to the best of my ability. So yes. Roy goes on to say, just because racism is endemic in American society doesn't mean change of laws didn't improve things. I think that doesn't mean that, but it clearly did not. And I'll give you a best example of that is the war on drugs. The war on drugs was literally the war against brown and black entrepreneurism. It was a war against young black and brown men. That's what it was. The war on drugs was a series of laws that clearly made things worse completely, particularly for black and brown people, particularly for black and brown men, even worse. I mean, the women were suffering because they didn't have any men, so they also suffered too. And many of them also had problems, but the men directly. So yeah, I mean, it was terrible. I think it was horrible. I think the failure of the reparations movement in 1865, which is when it should have happened, terrible problem. Government botched that completely. And then segregation laws, again, making things worse. So those laws literally did not improve things, literally made things worse. It's absolutely true. This generation has seen our only black president. Yes. And there's more racial and gender diversity in our Supreme Court now than all Supreme Courts before the DOE existed combined. Most people hate the Supreme Court now. But yes, but the people were picked. At least Reagan did it openly, and so did Biden. So I don't know if the others did for sure, but Reagan and Biden, Republican, Democrat, openly picked people because of gender and or race. So this goes directly against what you're saying about that excluding people. Reagan literally said, I'm picking a woman, so all men, no. Biden said, I'm picking a woman of color, so all men and all white women, no. I'm not sure where you're going with this one, Roy. He literally did that. And then Mike goes on to say, diversity in SCOTUS is done with DOE. Also accurate. Yes. I don't know why he ends up bringing race up and stuff. I don't get it. The DOE is a hunk of garbage. It doesn't matter whether black people are on SCOTUS or not. It doesn't matter whether we have a black president or not. It's a garbage institution that has failed, obviously failed. And if your issue is the reason for education being bad is because racism, if that is you're saying that's your reason, which I do not agree with, but okay, maybe I'm wrong and it's all because racism. The problem is this goes back to the cried wolf, the boy who cried wolf. So many people just scream racism for everything that now people don't hear it anymore. So maybe I'm wrong and it's all racism, but I don't want to hear it. It doesn't make any sense to me because I hear it for everything. Everything's an hysterophobe. Some things are. And that whole show is based upon the actual racism in America that does still exist and has existed since 1619. And the government has made it worse in every case. Made it worse in every case. Not better, worse in every case. I'm not sure where this goes. But anyway, Ryan goes, the DOE have screwed over as many black children as they have white children. Probably true. Yeah, it's outside of the Fed. It is our most worthless agency. Yes, yes, and yes. Absolutely. 100%. Yes, I totally agree. So, yeah. All right. Roy goes on to say, this returns to say, Roy says, for the first 200 years, presidents purposely picked only white men. Yes, but I think for the first 100 years, it's unfair to say that. For the first 100 years, yes, you're right, but it will be unrealistic to ask them to pick anything else. In the first 100 years of America, women couldn't even vote and black people were slaves. So I would say yes I would only say that would have any relevance in the second 200 years. It wouldn't be fair to them because of the society that we had then, for them to always start picking black women in 1850. I mean, that just wasn't realistic, right? So I could say that for the last 100, maybe. Okay, maybe I could say that, sure. So how could it be a problem if Reagan or Biden find a qualified woman? It's the exact same thing, Roy. You know this, come on. It's the same thing. Meaning, if Reagan picked a woman because she was the best person, there's no problem at all. If Biden picked a black woman because she was the best person, there's no problem at all. Those two people, the other presidents might have done the same thing. I don't know. But I know Reagan said, I'm picking a woman, which means his pool, to your point, was not the pool of everyone. His pool was women. Biden said, and this is a Republican Democrat, Biden said he's picking a woman of color. So his pool was not everyone. His pool was black women, just like for the first 100 years, the pool was just white men. Same thing. You posted earlier, everybody should be. I agree with you. I agree with it completely. Everyone should be open, right? Let everyone be open. And then if he happens to be a black woman, awesome. I don't care. I don't care what gender or race. I don't care at all. It doesn't matter to me one single bit. All I'm saying is, and again, I practiced what I preached. If you check the press, that actually happened. I had the most diverse, and I don't believe in quotas. I think it's terrible. So anyway, we've yapped away. Guys, please do me a favor. Click the button known as like. I've been on all damn night, and I'm sorry I kept you guys so late. Thank you so much for watching so long. I was supposed to come on at 7, came on at 7:30. Got crazy busy. But I do want to let you guys know that I will be on again tomorrow. It is driving everybody crazy, I know, but I will be on again tomorrow. A lot of work. I will have something happen, and I'm going to try my best to make sure that we have our special show. But the problem is a lot of you people did not really want to be on the special Friday show. So I may not have many of those. We'll see what I'm going to do on Friday. We'll see. We'll figure something out either way. We will find it. After the live stream, please do me a favor and put in the oddest, weirdest job hunting story you have. The weirdest job hunting story that you have. That'd be awesome to do that. And I will see you all very soon.